The time has arrived, dear listener, as the Chicklick Book Club podcast continued their foray into the opulent world of the London Tom, most specifically the gregarious Bridgerton family. On this episode of Page to Screen, our intrepid ladies engage in a tete-a-tete with the second season of the Netflix series Bridgerton, loosely based on a fever dream disguised as an adaptation of Lady Julia Quinn's The Viscount Who Loved Me. This author likes nothing better than a happy ending, and if that makes her a romantic fool, so be it.
Hi, I'm Ray.
And I'm Veronica.
And welcome to another edition of Page to Screen from the Chicklit Book Club podcast.
Today we're talking about Season 2 of Bridgerton, which is very loosely based on The Viscount Who Loved Me by Julia Quinn.
I love the snark. I love it. Because it is going to get up in this piece, people. It's going to get...
S.L. Prater commented on our Instagram
Oh my gosh, she's ready.
It was like, I cannot wait to listen to this.
Yep, guys. The gloves are off, and I'm coming out swinging, guys.
Yeah. Ray has some rage. We're going to experience Ray rage.
Oh, I, at one point, said I almost threw my TV out the door. Like, I was...
Yes, you told me you were stomping around the house.
Yes, I was going to go light someone's house on fire. I didn't know whose, but I was going to. Not Julia Quinn's, because this poor woman, she got some shit stolen from her. Stolen! Holy crap. Before we rage, before we Nicolas Cage rage, do you have a bright spot?
I do.
I would like to talk about something positive before
let's start off on a high note, okay?
Right.
And then we'll nosedive from there, okay? So,
Yep.
Okay, so as you know, Miss Winifred is doesn't have the greatest manners, and you know that's our fault. I get it.
She's a dog.
She's a dog. She's a puppy, and so I took her to PetSmart for her first doggy class.
Oh, I forgot about that. It was yesterday. How'd it go?
Really well. Like,
Good.
really well. I was totally shocked. It was kind of like a weird first class, though, because we were the only ones there. And so we received a ton of attention.
Oh,
but she
wow.
was like,
So there was nobody else in your class?
No, but she is going to consolidate. So there was like someone else who signed up for like a Wednesday class or something. And then she convinced the woman, like, you should come on Sunday. Like, there's only one woman signed up in Sunday's class. There's only one. Like, if you are alone, that takes away the socialization of the dog. You know,
yeah, I mean, that's kind of defeats the purpose of doing it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. So, but the way that it worked out, like, it was her the first time alone, me the first time alone, and then we'll see her next week. There's some dog named King or whatever. I was like, okay.
Cool.
So I don't know how big this dog is. I assume it's going to be this big, like super tiny.
Like tiny. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, she did very well.
Good.
I was quite impressed, actually. We also learned that the dog loves pepperoni. So we walked out the door with a bag of pepperoni.
I like pepperoni.
Yeah, duh. Hello. But she, like, I can literally already tell a difference in the dog. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is awesome, and I'm super grateful. Super grateful. Are your dogs making noises?
You don't hear that?
No? Did you not hear my husband and my child yelling at each other a couple minutes ago?
No, I missed that.
Okay, good.
Because these two, I don't know what he's doing upstairs. It always makes me nervous as to what I'm going to walk upstairs to.
Fair.
Yeah.
My other bright spot is that I got my birthday present from you. And it is one of our shirts.
Yes, guys.
And I am proudly wearing it. I will post it on the gram.
We got merch, bitches.
Hell yeah, we did.
Merch. Yep.
And it will be our Patreon. We named all of our Patreon levels after our favorite book boyfriends. So Darcy and Drew and Joshua and Nico and Jack and Jason and Jackson.
Lots of J's in that.
Lots of J's in there. Lots of them. Anyway, those are my bright spots.
I love it. I love
What are
it.
yours? Do you have a bright spot?
I do because
It was Bridgerton season 2, wasn't it?
I'm gonna ignore that. Ignore that. So to cope with all of the rage that I had, I reread some of I reread some. It's funny, I did not reread Viscount Who Loved Me, which I was going to do because I was going to make me feel better about things. But I did read four again, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, and then I ordered my comfort read, and I ordered 2 of my other comfort reads.
Oh.
And so they came today, and they're like, they're used paperbacks, and they're the one, like, because you ever notice, like, sometimes when they reprint paperbacks, sometimes they'll leave the artwork off. They'll just give you the front, because like the old paperbacks you'd had to have the inside. Yeah. So these ones don't. They have the really bad looking mullets on the guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell me what that is? I can't read.
Yes, I am. I'm going to tell you right now. This is Lisa Clayplass. It happened once with Autumn.
Yes.
In which I reread, and I was actually going to talk about in this. I reread it because I was like, I can't remember. I can't remember. I don't know which one I love more. I actually do like the Viscount Who Loves Me more.
Really?
I do, because there's a very interesting scene that I, for some reason, my brain forgot, and I was like, I don't know if I care for this scene as much. I still like the book a lot. It's very, very similar. And the other one, which I fucking adore, I went back and reread most of this, and is Love in the Afternoon by Lisa Kleypas.
Oh yes.
I mean, again, guys, if you. It's so good. It's like tear-inducing. At some points, like, Christopher is like one of the best heroes. Like, I mean, I should tell you, the first, 25% of the book is epistolary. So
man.
Yeah. She's writing to him.
Both of us love that so much.
She's writing to him pretending to be somebody else, like writing letters for this person. And they fall in love via the letters. Aww. And he's got PTSD from the war. And so he's got severe PTSD. But yeah, I mean, so but he falls in love with her, 50% in, 40% in. Like, he's like, it's just so good. It's so good. Oh, but yeah, so that's my bright spot. I got those today. I was like, oh, I forgot that I ordered them. So yeah, hey. Yeah. Yay.
Oh my goodness. Well, here we go.
Can I say one positive thing?
Yeah, I'm going to say a few positive things.
Okay. Should we do, how should we do it? Should we do
you want to go through this episode by episode? Like, I kind of like the way you guys do it on Triple B, where you kind of just like go through your notes.
Yeah, we could do that.
I mean, we don't have to like go through every single plot point or everything like that. But if we
hit the major
if you have
ones.
Notes, I did take notes. I did separate them by episode.
I did. I'm sorry. I took up till 4, and then my one of my last notes on episode 4 is "fuck this fucking show." So,
what you also texted me, "fuck this fucking show."
Yeah. Oh. Whew.
Yes. It is at the end of 4. I don't have many notes from 4, but the notes I have at the end aren't nice. All right. So let's talk about, first of all, big differences that we already knew about. The Sheffield family is not the same. It has been changed to the Sharma family. However, what I didn't realize until they started, obviously, the season, is that so it would have been her dad. No, Mary's family was the Sheffields?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mary's family was the Sheffields, and then she married Mr. Sharma, who was Kate's dad, and then they moved to India. Mm-hmm. So, and he was, a grocer or something? He was like...
clerk.
A clerk. Okay. Mm-hmm. Does that mean a lawyer?
It means works for like a solicitor or something like that, okay. Or like it works for a merchant.
Okay. So, there's like a whole storyline around that, but you don't learn that until you actually start watching the show. So there was some hubbub about the fact that Kate is Indian. and that her family is Indian and that they have changed the character. I give no fucks about that. I don't care at all.
Nope. Nope.
Ashley Simone
is one of the most beautiful people on the planet.
Fuck.
Like she's, it makes me laugh because like her sister is supposed to be the girl who plays Edwina is very pretty.
Mm-hmm, she is.
She looks like she's 12 years old.
She looks very young. I mean, I'm sure that's one of the reasons she was chosen. Like Edwina is Edwina in the book is 17. She's clearly older than that in the show.
Yeah,
I assume.
But and then they age up.
They age up Kate. So Kate's 26.
How could you not look at this woman and go, like, I mean, seriously, she took my breath away. Like, she's breathtakingly gorgeous.
Yep. And every single time her hair was, like, down, I was just like... Oh, my God,
that fucking hair.
Holy shit, her hair is incredible.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
And all those people who are out there who are upset about it are racist, then go fuck themselves.
Yeah, so. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Who cares? Yep. Like, she's an amazing actress moving on with our lives. You know? Like, just please don't.
Yep.
It's not a big deal. It's one of the great things about this show was that they are breaking, like, the, quote, racial norms of this time period. You know, like, these are historical romances. It probably was all white people.
Right.
However... Right. This is a historical romance that was written in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
I think. And then, you know, this is a show that is being produced in the 21st century, so let's fucking act like it. Mm-hmm. Okay? Like, we don't need this to... This is publication date 2015, but that's not true. That's got to be like
it has to be reprint, yeah.
Anywho. So we knew that. We knew some of Anthony's backstory already. I do still like the way that they set that up in season 1, even if it didn't have the same resolution. Like in, it was much less of a deal in his book than it was in season 1, the show, because they made that whole opera singer thing like it went on for much longer, and she ended up with someone else, you know, like that whole thing.
Yeah. Which I didn't, it's really funny. Like we were just talking about this. I did not mind the side stories that much in the first season. Like I didn't mind his side story with the opera singer because again, it does set it up.
Right.
However, like, now thinking about it, I know that they did reference in the book, The Duke and I, him going to the opera singer, because I know Violet says something to him a couple times about like being the Viscount and like taking over responsibilities, which I did really like to see that part of like how hard it is for him. Like it is a job. Like I don't think any of us realize like to be the head of a family at 29.
Yeah, he's 29.
Yeah,
or at least in the book he is. They didn't bring it up in the show actually. I don't think so anyway. Not that I noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really funny. Like, I think I was saying I watched the first season so much that I didn't enjoy the theme, like the title sequence.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, is it different this season or is it the same? Because I meant to go back and watch it and I completely forgot.
I can't remember. I honestly don't remember.
I didn't. Maybe I like just don't remember it, but it was beautiful.
Well, it's also they only played that
one time. They only play it the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I waited for it the second time and they didn't do it. They just showed,
must
like,
be
the
different
tree.
because it did say Mr. Anthony Bridgerton, and the words looked like it looked like it was from the book, which is funny that they referenced the book, since that was the only time we referenced the fucking book.
Other than the fact that the final episode was called The Viscount Who Loved Me.
Okay, I'm gonna
right.
staying on the. I'm satellite right. I'm staying on the satellite. Okay.
Okay. So let's just go ahead and start with episode 1.
Yeah. My first note is Eloise with the heart.
My first note is all caps with periods in between every single word. Lady Danbury's cleavage.
I don't remember.
It was fucking stellar.
Oh, really?
Just gorgeous.
Well, she's fucking beautiful. I mean,
of course she is.
Her and the queen are just gorgeous older women, and so is Violet. Violet's pretty too.
I mean, anytime you've got like a corset on and you're just like smushing that
those
stuff
girls
in.
are up to
Yeah, those girls are like up to the chin, you know, like
Up loud and proud.
What is the woman who's the woman who plays Penelope? Just like her boobs.
Nicola Coffin, I think.
Yes, her boobs under her chin. Like
I
the
know.
necklaces impacted by the boobs.
Yeah, like oh my God. I was texting you. I was like, this was not a good time. That was not a good look for anybody who wasn't like a stick.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it just, I mean, and when
The hair was better this season.
her hair,
All of the hair was better this
it was
season.
really funny. I was going back and reading when I was reading, her hair is actually brown, with hints of red in it. Because
Interesting.
because she makes a comment about her
Interesting, 'cause-
red hair later, but he specifically says her brown hair with hints of red.
Huh. Because they just made that entire family redheads.
I know. I was like, okay. I mean,
I don't
makes
care.
sense. That's fine. It was something I caught that when I was reading. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Anyhow, boobs. Well,
Okay,
it's
so
funny.
boobs.
Yeah, boobs. And then speaking of, Nicola gets to use her own Irish accent. So,
yes, she does.
oh God, I'm not gonna remember. I mean, there was like fucking 8 hours of this, so I'm trying to remember.
Well, okay, so I also said, so that was my next, actually, my next note is, does the Queen's neck hurt?
I wrote her wigs just keep getting wiggier and wiggier as they look ridiculous.
They are massive.
I mean, I was to the point where I was like, okay, can we just calm down with these fucking wigs?
They were very intense, and I wondered, truly, how heavy are they? And is that actress going to need a chiropractor later?
Well, right. And also,
Maybe
I'm
some
like,
physical therapy.
I do love the woman who plays the Queen, but I'm like, this literally, we do not need this storyline.
Yeah, I know.
At
We'll get
all.
into that later. Yes, I also made a note about the Irish accent. Also, her business acumen. For a woman in this time, Penn's business acumen is like fucking stellar.
So we should say that, like, you learn in the first season that Penn is actually Lady Whistledown, which fucking infuriated me because
Right.
it's a huge part of 4.
Yeah.
So then we actually see her going to her publisher, going to her publisher, and she goes and she dresses
Her
like
printer. The printer.
Yeah, her printer.
Yeah.
Sorry, and she dresses like a servant or like her maid, like a lady's maid, and she uses her real Irish accent, and so what she come to find out, like, they're trying to raise the price. The newsboys want more money for.
She wants the newsboys to get paid better, the delivery boys.
Yeah.
And she's always on a quick deadline. Like, she's turning things in like at the last second. And so he wants to charge her more because she's turning things in at the last second.
Right.
And she makes some deal with him, and it's like, you'll have to pay the boys more because they're the ones doing all the work.
I was trying to pull up this thing that I was actually looking at because I wanted to at one point go, when did these fucking two have sex? So I was looking up what episode did they have sex in, and I found this really good. Like, they went through each episode and they kind of broke down what was happening. Oh, nice. And then they gave it a grade. So, do you want to keep going? And I'll try to find that.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, I don't know what Winnie just did. Like, are you okay, baby? Winnie, come here. I don't know. Like something spooked her. Okay. Eloise's hair, love it so much. I thought all of the hair was better, but I specifically really loved her hair throughout this season. At some point, it's during the first episode, so Anthony has decided that he's going to get married this season.
Violet makes a pretty big announcement.
Yeah, Violet just like rolls up into the first ball
funny.
of the season or whatever. And it's
I love his eyes. His eyes were like, "What the fuck,
what
Mom?
did you just do?" Like, she rolls up and it's like just loudly, it's like, "Well, the Viscount has decided to find a wife this season." It's just like, what the fuck? Because then he's swarmed.
Like, you could just see he's like, "This bitch,
this bitch." Like, because then he is swarmed. Yeah. So then he has, like, we also talked about this in the book, that he has specific criteria that he believes these women need to meet.
He does not say what he says in the book.
No,
he does not say, "I can't fall. I can." And we also don't get the whole reason why he can't fall in love.
Right.
Which is
he barely touches on that in the final episode. Barely touches on it.
Yep.
But like, we don't get the same reasoning that he in the book states, which is that he knows he believes he's gonna die young, and so he does not want to fall in love with someone and leave their life in shambles when he leaves.
Right.
So he is interviewing these women. Like, he goes on dates, chaperone dates with these women.
Yeah.
And
with
he's
these, like,
asking
lists
them
of
questions. Lists
Yeah.
of questions. Literally just interview style questions.
Yeah. In between, we're seeing him sleep around town pretty much with literally
With
every
hookers.
prostitute.
Literally,
Yeah.
like, you see him leaving coins on the table.
Yeah. We also get the most beautiful butt shot I've ever seen.
His butt is
Rear
an
end.
actual work of art. Like,
It is like two beautiful apples. Just
it
like,
is pristine. I mean,
I
that
wanted to bite it.
butt is like,
yeah.
how much do you need? Like, do you squat and lunge every single day? Do you run upstairs? Like, what?
It was nice.
Or are you just blessed? You lucky son of a bitch. I mean,
He's a handsome man, so yes, probably.
He's a very handsome man.
Yes.
Very.
He's very handsome. His husband partner is a very lucky person, but I think he's good looking
is he,
too.
attached to another person?
I think he is. I
so
think
hot.
so. He's very good looking, but if I remember correctly, his boyfriend is very good looking too.
I'm sure he is. Unfair.
No, he doesn't say anything about. Oh, Jesus Christ! The one I pull up is him without a shirt on, of course. Anyhow, I mean,
We see a
come on.
lot of Anthony sitting in a bathtub.
I'm completely fine with that. We also, I mean, do we really want to touch on the Featheringtons at all? I mean, I really don't think.
Not really.
I
I
honestly,
absolutely disliked this entire Featherington thing this season. It was
made up and
extraneous
stupid.
and annoying. None of the shit's in the books. Like,
No.
I just did not enjoy it.
No,
it was
I mean,
just
and they did.
a way to stretch it out, and I did not like it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a hint of that in the books. Not a hint of them having any sort of financial problems at all.
Well, and
At
Mr.
all.
Featherington does not die in the first book.
No, he's
After-
he's already dead. He's not around.
Oh, is he? I didn't even think.
Yeah, he's not even around. Like, when you get to the fourth book, Portia, the mom, is very excited that all the girls are getting married off because she figures that Penelope will be a spinster and take care of her when she's older.
Portia is fucking terrible.
The worst. And in the book, she's like I said, I texted you. I was like, literally, this family is the fucking worst in the books. I don't want more of this. I do not want more of this. Like, oh my God. Reading the scene where Colin comes to, like, say he's going to marry Penelope, it is the most fucking, like, at one point he goes, I cannot wait to remove her for the bosom of this family. He's like, because he's disgusted. At one point he goes, I looked at her with disgust. And I was like, that I do not need fucking 8 hours of this goddamn bullshit.
No. I did not appreciate it.
Nope.
We can basically just skip over all that shit.
Okay. So we can
obviously, the way he meets Kate is different.
Yeah.
Very obviously.
Which I'd rather have the Colin introducing them, but it's either here or there.
Yeah, I know. That was really funny. I did enjoy... It actually reminded me... It was like a Hamilton moment to me when... So they meet outside after Kate has overheard him giving his criteria to, like, some dudes outside, right?
Yep.
So she, like, trips on something or knocks over, like, a brick, or she hits something with her foot, and then he realizes that she's there. So they end up having, like, a little confrontation there. And she must make some comment about his smile, and he said, "So you find my smile pleasing?"
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Anthony.
Yes, I do, Anthony.
But we find it that Kate and so it's Kate and Edwina Sharma and their mother Mary are there, and Edwina is like, Kate is fine with not getting married. She's ready to go back to India, but she wants Edwina to marry well.
That's all she wants.
Yeah, she wants Edwina to marry well, and she's pretty much been putting all of her hopes and dreams and faith, and she's been training Edwina for this moment. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Do we learn why at this point?
No, we find it out later, but I don't know. I don't remember
episode?
when. It might be the second episode.
Okay. We also learned that they have the cutest corgi, which, sorry, Newton, you didn't get your time in the sun in this one.
Nope.
At some point, you get kicked by Anthony. That's awesome.
Oh my god.
Cool.
He only trips over it. Well,
he trips over him, but I felt bad because the dog squealed like that. Dude, that hurt dog yelp, and I was like, I didn't like it.
That was not really the dog.
No, but I don't like that sound.
Well, no, of course not. There is like a funny moment. Maybe like the following morning or something. Anthony is back home, and he's talking to Benedict, and he asks Benedict, "Are you sleeping with the dressmaker? Are you sleeping with the whatever?" Because she was just there or something like that, dropping off dresses. And Benedict just bites back, "Have you found a wife yet?"
Yeah, I did have to say, though, I wrote, and I think this is when I sent to you, I was like, Benedict is still gross. He's still gross, guys.
I mean, he's not my favorite. He's not.
No, and I just know his like, that, nope. I don't know, there's just something about him. I think the actor is very attractive. And he does a decent job. I
liked his banter with Anthony, though.
Yes, yeah.
His relationship with Anthony and Colin, like, is funny.
Honestly, all of the Bridgertons together, their banter together is
always
it's just
amazing.
Like the book. The books are very similar. I mean,
that's true. Yeah,
that's all it is just banter.
I wrote the Sheffield thing is frustrating. Who will she end up marrying then? But I don't remember what I meant by that.
So this must be she must
have found out when Lady Danbury comes in, right? Okay.
Lady Danbury, who had been corresponding with the Sheffields, I believe, right? And they told her.
Oh yeah. Because then I think what I was wondering was like, who will Edwina marry then? Because she's supposed to get this inheritance. So the whole thing is that the Sheffields, when Mary married. I don't remember his name. What?
They just call him Appa, which is
dad, Appa. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So when she married him and moved to India, she basically like forsook her family, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And her family was real pissed about it. Even like they had been trying to set her up with somebody, and like she was like, "No, I've fallen in love with this clerk, and we're gonna move to India." Mm-hmm. So she like didn't speak to her family at all, and they basically disowned her. But then when they found out that they had a granddaughter, Edwina, not Kate, but Edwina, was going to be eligible for an inheritance if she married an Englishman of nobility.
Yep.
And so Kate knows this. And does Mary know it?
No.
Okay. So how does Kate find out?
Kate is the one who's corresponding with the Sheffields.
Oh, okay. So again, this is in the show. None of this is in the book.
No.
But
this is also a fuck you to me. To me, it's like we had to shove Sheffield in here somewhere because some fan was going to be pissed off because the name was changed to Sharma. Mm-hmm. I was like, did we fucking need this?
No, we fucking did not.
No.
So that whole like, Lady Danbury finds out about this and is like, you need to tell Edwina. Because then before I realized like where they were going with that, I was like, well, then who is Edwina going to marry if she's going to get this inheritance? Because Edwina in the book marries like a scholar or whatever, like.
Yeah. Because that's what she says right away. She's like, well, because Kate says like, what, if you could marry anybody, who would you marry then? She's like, a scholar. I want someone intelligent. I want someone I can sit and chat. Because Kate doesn't like to read. Anthony is not into reading either. Which made me laugh because he asked one of the girls that he's interviewing, do you like to read? She goes, books? I was like, okay.
But Kate enjoys learning and is very intelligent.
Oh, she is. But like in the book even, she says like philosophy was not her thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, she did not like studies. That was just not her thing. She'd rather be like, doing things.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. Then I said, so Eloise is being presented to the queen, like into society, right? Mm-hmm. So, and she's mortified. She doesn't want to do this. She's so nervous.
Yeah.
So she goes, that whole thing gets interrupted by a whistle down leaflet, basically.
Yeah.
But then, like, she's going to introduce herself, the Lady
Which we
Bridgerton and
figure out
Anthony.
that Penn did that on purpose.
Yes, you eventually. Yeah, I put that
Yeah.
together. That Penn did
Yeah.
that on purpose because Eloise was so nervous.
Yeah.
So then Eloise ends up meeting the Queen at like a ball the following week or something like that.
Yeah.
First of all, the Queen ain't going to a ball. Okay, like she's just
Also, that's not. I'm sure that never happened.
no.
I'm
None
sure
of this seems historically accurate to me.
No, because I was like, I don't think this is how they like somebody's deigned the diamond of the first
No,
water. I
highly-
don't
highly
think
doubt
that
it. No,
happened
I think
like
that-
that.
No,
This is
I-
all fantasy.
this is-
Yes.
Yes, which fine, but
Whatever.
so she like goes to meet the Queen, and she, because Eloise is Eloise, she makes a joke about how she says she makes a joke about an emerald and how she prefers
Yeah.
emeralds to diamonds, and she kind of laughs at her own joke and then like is appalled with herself. And then all of a sudden the Queen barks out this laugh and everyone is fucking shocked, including Eloise.
Yeah.
Because the Queen is like, my favorite necklace has emeralds in it.
Yeah.
So basically Anthony and Lady Bridgerton are like shuffling Eloise away, like, okay, this went well, like just to get her out of here.
Yeah,
before
stop
something
talking.
happens.
Yeah.
Stop talking.
Eloise literally is, which the trajectory of her character in this season, the ending made, I think, another reason why I was rage-inducing by the end, because she's so fucking funny,
Yeah.
and by the end, we'll get there.
Yeah, I know. Next note I have is, LOL, Cressida is the worst.
And I also wrote it so I could say her fucking name. I wrote it out because I said it a couple times. I was like, oh, Cressida, cool.
Cressida. I don't know. I said Anthony interviewing Edwina while dancing literally LOL'd when he saw Kate because he had met her before and did not realize who she was. Mm-hmm. I also wrote, at one point, Eloise says to either Anthony or Benedict, I despise you. And it made me laugh really hard. Just like the way she said it. Also, the word respite. That's how they pronounce it. I specifically wrote it down and I was like, respite.
Well, it's like despite.
Yes. Fair.
I guess.
We don't say
There we go.
despite. We say despite.
Well, we say respite. It's
Yeah,
our
we
right.
do. We say respite.
Because we're Americans.
Yeah. We have, yeah. Mhm.
Apple pie.
Also, did
Whoa.
you catch that Madonna's Like a Virgin was playing?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
I
I
mean-
still have the track listing up. Yeah, I do. I made lots of notes about like the
You ought to know.
classical. Yep.
Wrecking Ball. Yep. Yep.
Did you catch Sign of the Times though? From Harry Styles.
Yes. Yes.
Um.
Hairstyles.
Okay.
Should we get to episode 2? Not much else happens in this one, and besides Edwina becoming like the diamond.
Yeah, I wrote
whatever.
departure from the book, as in like this is when the departures like really started to get.
Oh
more
yeah,
obvious.
I mean it goes downhill. Like I
Yeah.
was actually like, my first note was like, I don't think this is how this is gonna. I don't know how. I'm like I was okay with it. I was okay with the change. It was fine. And then we get to the second episode, and I was like, it was like a car crash coming, and I was like, oh no. I just started getting like angry. I started getting angry by 2. By 4, I was fucking furious. So
Yeah.
Colin's come back.
Yes, Colin is back from his travels.
Yeah, it's too bad that doesn't happen for another 10 years, but that's okay.
He won't stop talking about Greece.
He's been writing back and forth with Penn. So he does have a lot of longing looks with Penn. At the beginning. And then he does something at the end that makes me fucking furious. But he does a couple things. But there's when he comes in for the first time and he sees her, I was like, oh, that's a look. Yeah.
Anthony did not show up with flowers for the whole family, for all the women.
No.
Which annoyed me. He just rolled up and like demanded to see Edwina.
Yep.
One thing that I did like about the difference in the storyline was the horse thing. How they both love, like, Anthony is into horses.
Oh, yeah.
Kate is into horses. And not only is she into horses, but she knows more than him.
Yep. Yeah, I did like that.
I enjoyed, like, the whole royal race thing where, like, they're betting against each other. And at one point, like, Dorset leans back and looks at Edwina and goes, are we going to have to separate them?
Yeah. At first I was like, I loved Mr. Dorset, and then I didn't love Mr. Dorset. Mm-hmm. So, Anthony's being kind of a dickhead through a lot of this with how, like...
Yeah, he clearly is, like, feeling entitled to Edwina because she is the diamond of the season and he's the Viscount, and, like...
And that's just how it's going to be.
That's just that.
I'm like, And then, so, what we find out is at the race, he has asked one of his college friends, Mr. Dorset, to pretty much distract, to, like... you know, lay attention on Kate to distract her away from...
Yeah.
I was
from
like...
Edwina so that he can talk to Edwina.
So pretty much pretend like he likes her so that way she will be distracted. And I was like...
Yeah.
Oh, Anthony would never do that. That was when I first started saying, Anthony wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that doesn't feel consistent with his character.
Well, it's hurtful. And I don't think as much as, like, he's a pompous ass, he's not deliberately mean.
No, I don't think so. No,
and that
yeah,
was to
I agree
me
with
deliberately
you.
mean.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, of course Kate figures it out. Like, I don't even remember how, but, like, she figures it out.
He says something from our time back in college.
Yeah,
and she goes, wait, what?
Yeah.
He introduced himself. He didn't know who Mr. Bridgerton was.
Oh, right.
And she's like, I mean, my stomach dropped. I was like, oh, no. You want me to really like this character, and I am not happy right now.
Yeah, it did not feel consistent with Anthony as a character, and, like, even in the book, when he and Kate didn't like each other, he was still nice to Kate.
Right.
He was still polite.
Right. I mean, a lot of it, and we saw in their interactions, even though he was still like, I'm gonna marry your sister, there was that, like, because it was tension, and, like, he was still playing, that's why it was hard for her to really hate him. And a couple times where she says, I don't hate you.
Right.
And I think we talked about it on our episode.
I just don't think you can make my sister happy.
Right. Because she also hears him say that he's not going to fall in love with his wife.
Right.
So...
Yeah. I didn't like that. At this point, I also wrote, Eloise is the star of the season. Which I think is true until the end.
I think it's until... And then she's got the fucking side story with that guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't give a shit about any of this either.
Right. And then I wrote the fucking horse, the Trojan horse, because he brings a horse for Edwina, which again does not happen in the book. But like he says, I guarantee you, or I promise you, this is a real horse. I do not recommend crawling inside.
And then Edwina comes out and she's like, a horse. The horse character was from a book.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh.
Which I guess in the show, like, I looked at that like, it showed another similarity between Kate and Anthony, because that's something that they don't really stress in the show, is just how similar Kate and Anthony are.
Right.
So that to me showed, like, you are wooing the wrong sister.
Right, because like... you've got him with this fear of dying. Mm-hmm. And you also have her of a fear of thunderstorms, which
they completely negated. Oh. Like, they didn't even discuss that in the book or in the show. Which such a, like, that was one of my favorite scenes of the entire book, was when he finds her in the thunderstorm.
I mean, it's the death of her mother. I mean,
I know. It's that commonality of the death of a parent.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like, so we see Edmund die, which that's not how it happens in the book either. I mean, it's sort of, kind of, but Anthony's not there.
Right. We can get to that, but, like, oh man.
Yeah. So
that's episode 3. That weird talent show. That was bizarre.
Oh, wait, was that the...
When he shows up, oh, well, he goes to talk to Benedict to ask for advice, and then Benedict says something like poetic and beautiful about true love. There's this whole interaction.
After looking, right, I think that's why I texted you. I said, oh, there's the longing look that I wanted, because he looks at Kate, but then but then it's not because of Kate, it's because I don't know, he's just gonna do some improv. I was like, well, you had me for about a second.
Well, it did seem like he realized looking at Kate, like, I can't continue to, these aren't my words. I'm not. Right. He goes kind of like honest and noble after that, which is kind of frustrating. Because you want him to be honest, but also like, I don't know. It was just, again, none of this was in the book. And this is also the episode
where Colin gives her a Pen a long look and then fucking friend zones her big time.
Says, you are Pen, you do not count.
And I loved that. That's and then painful. he continues on as, you are my friend. I'm like, oh.
Friend. Ouch. I wrote Anthony and Benedict. I love it. Benedict's thoughts on what it means to admire a woman. The sense of dread I felt when Anthony wanted to read poetry, but of course it's Benedict words, and Anthony can't do it in front of his mother. Oh, I think that was part of it, was that his mother was sitting right there, and he couldn't lie in front of his mother.
Well, and like you were saying just a bit ago, and I had this written down. I said the animosity between Kate and Anthony isn't sexy here. It's just, it's angry, and it doesn't even. It's not like. I don't know. I didn't think it had the tension that the people that I think they were going for, because like you said, there's never a time where he's mean to her.
No,
but
no.
My God,
mean, there's plenty of times where there are tense moments, but he's never mean to her.
And she was a little over the top at some points. Like the dialogue was just like, okay,
the dialogue was biting, like it was quite like biting.
I'm like, this is almost inappropriate. Like you would never speak to a Viscount like this.
Right.
Like, I don't know. That was just me. It just was. I started getting sour stomach here.
Are you ready to move on to episode 3?
Yeah, I just wrote this is not Philip because Eloise is starting to fall in love with this random dude, and I'm like, I mean, okay, cool.
Yeah. Episode 3. My first note: how did they make Anthony look so young?
I said that too. I was like, I wrote to you. I was like, the gloss. I love the gloss because then they didn't do CGI Tarkentown with him. I mean, they just made him look. And Rupert,
there was no Renesmee bullshit. Like,
yeah.
So it was just like they clearly used like some sort of like soft filter on everything, which is normal. Like it's very normal to change filters and tones when you're doing a flashback. But they kind of like went a little more over the top, probably so they didn't have to worry about aging the characters backward too far. Mm-hmm. How it's different in the show is that Anthony is actually present when his father is stung by a bee and dies. Right. In the book, obviously, he was not there.
No, he comes home and it's like
he comes home and Daphne's crying
like,
in the
laying around the house. Like they're just lying on stuff crying.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
Yeah, and then he goes to his father's room. His father is already dead. So, but in the show, it is like far more dramatized, which I didn't really have a problem with.
No,
because it's demonstrative. It shows like how brutally painful that entire experience was. Violet comes running out of the house. She's pregnant. She's very pregnant with Hyacinth, and she ends up. She's yelling at Anthony, the children should not see this. Go get the children inside. Mm-hmm. And Anthony is clearly like,
because it is, I mean, I have to say it was trauma. Like, I was like, holy shit. Like, because it's, I mean, you don't think about it, like, but he turns around and like, I was like, oh, they're going to like just make it. No, they make him look,
they make him look puffy and terrifying. Damn. Yeah. That was, I wrote, oof, that Edmund death scene was traumatic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jesus. All of the flashback scenes in this episode are traumatic, like all of them. Mm-hmm. Also in this episode, we get a flashback to Anthony
Oh, that one with Hyacinth being born?
The one with Hyacinth being born.
That's why I said you're going to be... that's when I texted you. I said you were going to be furious. Because it made me... Like, not that they added it. I thought it was fine that they added it in. But just the fact that, like, that time period... It was probably pretty close to what actually probably would happen.
I'm sure. Yeah. So what happens is that Hyacinth is... She's breech, basically. Like, she's coming out butt first instead of head first. And that's tough even today. Like, even now, with modern medicine, they need to turn that baby around or they're doing a C-section because it's not safe for the baby to come out butt first. So that's the situation. And Violet has had how many babies? 7 babies at this point?
This will be her 8th. Yep.
So she's like, I know what I'm doing. I don't want their help. She's very, very traumatized and emotional about the fact that Edmund is not there. They're asking Anthony for for a decision from him about what they should do because and he does not understand that. He doesn't comprehend it. And so Violet is telling him, they're asking you to choose between me or the baby because if something goes wrong, they will want to save one of us. And it's not your decision to make. It is Edmund's decision to make. And Edmund is not here. Yeah. And also I think at one point she says in that scene, like, he is a child. You cannot ask him to make that decision. Yeah. And he, to his credit, says, do whatever she wants. Yep. Do whatever she wants.
I gave Jonathan Bailey 100, like, kudos.
I have goosebumps literally just thinking about that scene because it was so, like...
I thought it was a good addition. I thought it was a really
good addition. I think because that's probably very similar to, like, he would have been the person who would have been making medical decisions for her.
Well, and I think I like it because it also, like, we're building up all this whole thing going on of, like, how stressful it is at 29 years old to run a family like that. And,
to be responsible for all 18. Of these people.
Yeah. And so we see that scene at the beginning with him, like, all doling out the money. And he actually makes a number of comments throughout the episodes about how much money they're spending. Yeah. And I was thought, like, how is he making money? How are they making money? I'm like, I probably don't want to know. I don't want to know. Probably, like, opium or slavery or something horrible. So, like,
I have no idea. I mean,
a lot of times they had big
rent on the land. I don't know.
They had tenants and but I think that I like those additions because it does, like, take it sets up, although, I mean, I know why they're doing it because they're setting up that it's his duty to find somebody, like, to, the perfect person. Yeah, to marry.
That's part of his duty as the oldest son is that he has to find a woman to marry and produce male heirs. Yep. And that does hang over his head. I mean, he recognizes the duty and the responsibility of it. At one point during the show, he is just like, whatever, you have more sons. Benedict can take it on. Like, when shit's really hitting the fan. But that scene, there's more than one scene with just the two of them, with Violet and Anthony. Yeah. They deserve awards, the two of them, for the scenes that they acted together, because I mean we'll talk about 8 later, but, like, holy
some of the things she lays down some fucking knowledge, a couple truths upon him where I was like, I thought, holy God, because at one point she says something like about, and so does Daphne, which I actually was thinking today because when I was reading 4, Daphne plays a big part, I think, and I'd like to see what happens in 3 to see, because I know she does in Eloise's book too, is she always is the one who's dispensed knowledge. She comes down and she lays down the truth to usually everybody. Like, Colin comes to her and asks her, what's it like to be in love? How do you know if you're in love? Yeah. And so I think that she I mean, I thought that part with her at the wedding was fantastic, but Mom, when she's like, well, then I'm sad for you, that you're going to miss out of love. You're going to miss out on this wonderful thing that you would be sharing with somebody for the rest of your life. Yeah. And, they did have some pretty great scenes.
Yeah, they did.
So Benedict's going to art school, I guess?
Yeah, I guess. And I wondered if that's, like, a thing in the book, which is another reason why I was like, maybe I should read.
He is an artist, and he does, I mean, he does not live comfortable, like, they live comfortably, He and Sophie, from what I remember, especially from Eloise's book, but they're not like extremely wealthy. Like he's an artist. That's what he does. He's got paintings up in the National Gallery.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do get to see Daphne and Simon's baby.
That baby's so fucking cute.
That baby was cute. And actually, I was glad that they chose a biracial baby, or like at least a baby with like not white skin.
Yeah.
Because Regé Jean Page.
Regé Page. I've been saying it a lot recently. It's like car commercials. I was like, look at that bitch. I love him.
So pretty. He's obviously not a white man. So
No,
I'm
he's a
glad
very
that
good-looking
they
black man.
they kept with that, you know, that they didn't just conveniently forget that the dad's black, you know.
Yeah.
I also wrote fuck the Featheringtons.
Oh yeah, they did have one really good line. So just to give you like I guess the heir to the Featherington family is coming, and he's a good-looking actor, but I don't fucking care about his character. But Mrs. Featherington at one point is going to try to set one of the daughters up with him, and somebody goes, I can't remember if it's Prudence or if it's Penelope. But she's just like, wait, or what did she say? She's like, he's our cousin.
Yeah,
and I want to be like, that's pretty much the whole plot of Mansfield Park, honey. That's kind of what happened back then.
Right, and that's how it is followed up. Like how I forget who says it. Like it might be Lady Featherington, who's just like well,
that,
you
we've
know,
been doing it for years. Yeah, when your closest neighbor might be like 3 miles away, and it's your cousin. It's kind of what happens. As long as it wasn't your brother, I guess.
I mean, technically, Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth were like the second, third cousins or something like that.
Yeah. Well, and so Victoria and Albert, they were cousins.
Gross.
I mean, I like second or third.
I have Lady Bridgerton's speech about how Edmund was the air she breathed. Literal tears in my eyes. It does demonstrate his hesitation with love. They're ignoring the bee, though. Like, they're ignoring the fact that he is... They didn't get into it as much as they should have.
No.
And then I wrote, this almost proposal is rough. When Anthony, like, gets up at the table and, like, starts to propose and then doesn't.
Oh, I was like, oh, thank God, please don't do this to me. I was like,
I know.
My heart stopped.
My
I was
God.
like, oh, you're going to redeem this. You're going to redeem this. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We're redeemed for a little while.
For a while. For an hour. Yeah, that was rough.
That was really bad. And then I thought, okay, maybe we're going to get more into why he's... But no, we're going to get Colin... we get Colin and Benedict getting fucking lit.
High as fuck.
That was hysterical.
You. I was like, oh, so Benedict's just going to be super high soon.
Oh my God. That dinner was so funny, though.
That was really funny.
Yeah. I do like Eloise and Kate together. Huh?
Hmm? Oh, Eloise and Kate together? Yes, they are awesome. That brings us to episode 4, I think.
Oh, this is where Colin went to go see Marina Thompson. Episode 3 was...
was that in episode 3?
Yep.
We really watched this.
Because I wrote, oh, fuck you, Colin. Miss Thompson, really?
Oh, yeah. I didn't really see the point in that. All of that seemed dumb to me, unless you were setting it up for Marina to...
He asked about her in this one. He goes to see her in 4.
Okay.
That's right.
All right, well, then we can wait on that comment from me.
Episode 4. I don't remember how it starts. I don't
remember how it starts. Oh, well, they're going hunting. So they're all out at the country house.
Yeah.
The boys are going hunting.
That they're already at the fucking at the country house.
Yeah.
The house party. Yes. In episode 3, I'm like, oh, we're doing this, I guess.
Yeah. So the boys are all going hunting, and Edwina is like, she's trying to smooth things over between Anthony and her sister. Yeah. And so she's like, oh, Kate can hunt. Like, she's good at shooting.
Oh,
why don't you go with the boys? Has Pall Mall happened?
Mm-hmm. Oh. Pall Mall happens, like, it's one of the first things they do when they get there.
Oh, I made no comments about that, apparently. Pall Mall was... I will say I didn't hate the Pall Mall stuff as much as you did.
It was fine.
It was fine. It was
fine.
better in the book. It's always better in the book.
Way better in the book, yeah.
I didn't mind the addition of Edmund's gravesite.
No.
I didn't mind that. The mud, they end up in the mud. That was sort of a replacement for... I swear I wrote that down. Yeah, that was like sort of a replacement for the epilogue. Because in the epilogue, they end up in mud.
Yeah, because it's like I'm reading the synopsis that was from this fan site.
Oh, okay.
And it says, as we return to the present day, we join Lady Banbury and the Sharmas as they make their way to... Then they play their annual game of Pall Mall.
Oh, okay. All right. So they're going hunting in episode 4. There is a flash of Kate's thigh as she steps over like a fallen tree.
Uh-huh.
And like, I was like, that is hot as fuck.
Yeah, and well, Anthony thought so too.
I know. Because he like was speechless after that.
Yeah.
Because like just her like beautiful brown skin, like with the contrast of the gorgeous clothes she's wearing.
Blue dress. Yes.
The blue dress and that like white stocking she's wearing.
Yes.
Holy hell.
Also, she fucking knows how to hunt too, like better than the boys.
Better than the boys. Mm-hmm.
And then he's like holding the gun for her.
Okay, that was hot as fuck. I wrote that scene where he is helping her aim. Holy hell, the female gaze, because like how close they are. There's an obvious difference to me between the female gaze and the male gaze, and it is almost always involving like breath and tiny movements of hands and like subtle movement toward each other.
Yeah.
And in that scene, it is chef's kiss perfect because his breath is like by her ear, like his mouth is right by her ear.
And it's blowing her hair by her
and like
ear.
She shivers a little bit and like he closes his eyes. I mean, it's just very clearly like it's
sexual. It's very sexual.
Absolutely. And they both clearly feel it.
Yeah.
Yes. And it is like so incredibly hot.
And of course they get interrupted.
Yeah, and then they get interrupted by the rest of the fucking assholes around them.
I mean, we're at the 4th episode, guys, and there has been no sex, no kisses, no sex at this point.
Correct.
I'm like, what is happening?
And we did talk about this, that like it's probably COVID related, at least in part, because they had multiple shutdowns from COVID. And then also I was trying to remember like when season 1 would have been filmed. It aired in like January or either December 2020 or January 2021.
If I remember correctly, they finished right before the world exploded.
Okay. So like they wouldn't have had any of that stuff during the filming of season 1, but they did during season 2, and so they just had to figure it out. A lot of shows have been delayed because of that, because they need to keep people off set. They don't have as many people on set at a time. A lot of scenes are outdoors, which makes sense. Like, you know,
and maybe that's why they changed the plotting around. I don't know.
It very well could be. I mean, we don't know. We'll never know. Like, I wish someone would talk to like the production crew about it, like the writers, and be like, hey, we're just wondering, hey, how did COVID impact what you guys were doing?
Yeah, how did you take this amazing book?
How did you fuck up this entire book? I did write, so this is also when we get the thunderstorm scene, and I wrote, so disappointed about the thunderstorm scene.
I mean,
so disappointed.
She's not even scared. Not even scared. And
it's like, to me, that was an important part of her development as a character, and of them bonding, and about how like later that became an impetus for him to have his flip out in the book. Like, she works through her trauma basically, and he is so jealous that like she has made it to the other side and he will never. And that's really frustrating for him. And then, of course, he also realizes that he's, like, super fucking in love with her. But that entire thing is completely forgotten in the show. It's just left out completely.
And it's it's needed. It's so needed to build both of these characters. And it's like, and so now we've just got, because she even says, like, the next day, she says, were we going to talk about what happened in the library? And I want to say, be like, nothing fucking happened. Because, you know, she's like, if anybody but Daphne had
that's
shown
different.
up.
That's later. Because she walks in. That's later because the thunderstorm thing does happen in the middle of the night.
Right.
And actually, we've already passed the bee sting thing. The bee sting happens like at the beginning of episode 4, I think.
I'm going back over this thing here. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. However, Anthony second guesses proposing to Edwina after the moment he shared with Kate in the garden with the bee.
Yeah. The bee sting thing happened. Oh, yeah. So that might happen in episode 3. So, like, there is this moment where, like, Kate is stung by a bee, but in the book, that happens after the thunderstorm scene.
Yeah.
So he is going to check on her. He saw her walking toward the gardens from his bedroom window, and he goes to check on her.
Yeah.
And that is how she's stung by a bee, and he is trying to, like, get the venom out, and then he like tries to suck the venom out of her collarbone, basically, and like, and that's when Mary and Lady Featherington and Lady Bridgerton all walk in on them, and then they end up having to get married. Well,
and then you're also missing that gorgeous gazebo scene afterward too, where he takes her in like secluded gazebo and pretty much is like, we can make this work.
Mauls her with kisses, and it's like, it'll be fine. But like, it is a very tense moment where she's trying to convince him that she's fine, and he is clearly just PTSD to the max, shaking, freaking out. But, like, we don't have that connection with her yet where you know that he cares about her. It's not like yes, he is scared about the fact that someone in front of him was just stung by a bee, but he is scared for her life.
In the book. Yep.
Yes. So, the bee happens too early for me.
Yep.
Because he doesn't have, like, an obvious connection with her yet.
Right.
And then we get the thunderstorm scene, which is fucked. Because they didn't even really do it right.
Right.
It's just...
Oh, and FYI, this whole time, Edwina's falling in love with him.
Yeah.
Edwina is 100% wanting to marry. Mm-hmm. So wouldn't even get that fun thing. Like, I did not like Edwina at all.
No, I didn't either.
And it was just so sad. It's because I love that character in the book.
Yeah, I didn't like Edwina's character as much, but even then, like, what I really hated, and I'll get more into this later because it progresses more, but, like, I hated that they pitted the sisters against each other.
Right. It's not bad enough that they have to go out of their way to be like, they're not sisters, which I'm like, they're half sisters or sisters, but that's neither here nor there. But then you're going to put them against each other for a guy?
Right.
When,
like, you have to put that stereotypical bullshit female, like, fighting thing in there. Why?
Right.
You didn't have to do that.
Because they make at one point Kate feel like a horrible villain because she has feelings for someone.
Yeah, I wrote in here like they've made Kate into the villain, and I don't like it.
No.
And our friend Cherry Pop said the same thing.
Did you save me doing it?
No, I did not save you doing it. I'm going to have you do it later.
Does she know? Do we call her that now?
I don't know. I'll have to let her know.
I just didn't, because as a reminder in the book, Edwina knows from like fucking Jump Street that Kate and I keep wanting to call him Jonathan. That's his real name. Anthony are like, you know, MFEO, made for each other?
Right.
Like, she knows.
Because everyone in the book feels that way.
Everybody. Mary even knows, because Mary sends them out together.
Yeah, and Lady Bridgerton knows, because Lady Bridgerton is like, oh, you should go take a walk in the gardens, knowing full well that she just sent Kate out to the gardens.
Right.
Yeah.
When we can become independently wealthy, we're going to remake this?
Yes, we are.
Our stipulations. When there's no COVID.
When there's no COVID.
Okay. Anyhow.
Yeah, I also wrote so much obvious chemistry between Kate and Anthony. Like at this point, it's very obvious. Oh, and so I think this is when Daphne has her discussion with Anthony. Oh, this must be when Daphne walks in on them.
So
in his study.
Kate, so Edwina tells Kate that she needs to dance with Anthony.
Oh, right, yeah.
And so it's also, I love this part just because it's Dancing on My Own by Robin, which I fucking love. And then they talk, and then this is where she tells him, I'm leaving, when you marry Edwina, I'm leaving for India. And he leaves, and then they argue, and then they do kiss at this point, and then Daphne catches them.
Do they kiss? I think they're about to.
It says they argue in private, but that argument nearly leads to a kiss. Leads to a kiss.
Yeah,
I can't remember,
that's
guys.
when Daphne.
I was drinking a lot of wine.
But that's when Daphne walks in on them, and that's when Daphne says, like, if anyone else other than me would have walked in on you, you would be getting married to her right now.
Yep. And she's pretty much says, you need to follow your heart.
Yeah, and that's when she says to him, like, she's talking about these feelings, and he's like, and what feelings are you talking about?
Yeah, she has 2 heart-to-hearts with him.
Yeah, and she says, love, brother, love. And that's when he realizes, like, I have loving feelings for Kate, and therefore I cannot marry her. But that is not explained well.
No, it's not explained at all.
No, like, if you read the book, you understand where he's going with that train of thought.
Yep. What does he immediately go and do?
He immediately decides he's going to propose to Edwina.
And he does.
When they're all leaving.
We don't see her accept at all. No, because it closes on him kneeling in front of her.
I thought she screamed, yes, I'll marry you, or like, yes, or whatever.
I don't know.
Well, regardless, she accepts. And he does it, like, the carriages are leaving. So, like, most people are gone. Penelope is still there. She sees it happen. And obviously Kate is right there. And all of the Bridgertons
He literally does it in front of Kate. Like, he actually has to cross in front of Kate. His hand is, like, in front of her fucking face almost.
Yeah, he is literally walking out, and she says something. I think he might say, like, Miss Sharma. And she turns around, and she's like, Lord Bridgerton. And he's like, not you. And he, like, pushes past her to Edwina and fucking drops down to a knee and hands over Violet's ring.
And this is where I said I was going to throw my TV out the fucking window.
I wrote, the rage I feel, in all caps. And then I wrote, if you live long enough, your heroes will disappoint you.
Yep.
Thank you, Shonda.
Also, we probably should have said Colin went to go see Marina Thompson in this episode, too. So. Oh, yeah.
So, I will say the only reason, and again, I have not read book It's 5. Okay. Mm-hmm. You had said in book 5, so that's Eloise's book. Mm-hmm. Eloise marries Sir Philip. Mm-hmm. Sir Philip, if anyone recalls from season 1, is the older brother of Marina Thompson's deceased fiance. Mm-hmm. So she marries Sir Philip, his brother, the brother of her fiance, because the brother is trying to, like, do right by
Marina,
by his brother, like trying to do what he can to take care of his familial line, because that's Marina's carrying his nephew. So,
which not happened in the book, but that's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
So they
do get married, but she's not pregnant.
Right. So regardless, in the storyline, even in the book, Marina marries Sir Philip.
Right.
Now, Marina kills herself.
Yep. She drowns herself. Yep.
Wow. Very Kate in the Awakening. So that's who Eloise marries in book 5. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert. So Colin goes to visit Marina.
Yep.
The only thing that I see as being, like, helpful about this part of the storyline is setting up that Marina is not happy. She is married to Sir Philip, but is not happy. She's pretty mean to Colin, also.
Yeah, I don't think she was horribly... She doesn't seem, like, completely unhappy. Like, I was expecting more just because having read 5 and knowing how depressed she was through, I mean, she neglects the kids and that sort of thing. Yeah. You don't see much of her because she's already dead. But
right.
Philip talks about what had happened, and like they always had to be quiet and things like that. And so, but I didn't see that as much. I don't know.
I saw her. To me, it seemed like she was depressed. Like she had just resigned herself that this was her life, and she was not. She didn't seem happy though.
I wanted to see if that was the same Philip from last season.
I think it was. He looked familiar to me, and I don't know where else I would have seen him. Because God knows I don't see any movies.
You do not.
I do not.
But that was where I was like, I'm done with Colin. I'm fucking done with Colin.
Yeah, I don't think it was worth it. I don't get why.
No, especially it's like, I don't know. It's just, maybe just, like you said, it's probably just to set up. But then we have Eloise going on this fucking, like sidetrack with this Mr. Sharp or whatever, Theo Sharp.
That's where I guess we should bring that up. Theo Sharp.
Think he was good looking?
He is good looking.
He is good looking.
I wanted to look up how old he is to see just how dirty that made me.
And that's the end of my notes.
That's the end. Notes.
Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, as I texted Veronica, Vanessa, as I texted Vanessa Carlton, when I started the next day on Saturday on 5 through 8, I said, I'm paying half attention to this and playing games on my phone and drinking. So notes were not taken because I was literally I actually got up and was cleaning the kitchen and especially during the Featherkin shit. I could not.
Yeah,
I know there's something with fake jewels or something. I was like, whatever.
Oh yeah. None of that happens.
But Eloise, so I guess we should probably, because it does play a part in this whole thing in the ending, is that she's going and she's seeing this Theo Sharp, who is like, I guess has written pamphlets or is very involved in the women's rights movement.
He is like an apprentice printer,
right,
at the place where
Lady Whistledown
is getting her pamphlets printed. Yeah. I'm trying to look for that actor and I can't find him. I don't know how many episodes.
I also liked all of the shout outs to Mary Wollstonecraft. That made me happy. Wollstonecraft, sorry. And so like, and the only person who knows about this is Penelope. We should also say that Penelope was caught by the modiste. I can never remember her name.
You're right. I don't remember either.
I did laugh because she definitely dropped that fake French accent, and that made me laugh.
Yeah. That absolutely wavered when she was talking to Ben. It really disappeared.
Yeah, like it. So because she's the one who's been was having an affair with Benedict.
Yeah.
So what Penelope decides then to do is, instead of like, and I forgot, Madame Delacroix says something like, "I will never betray your secrets," and I really don't. I don't think she would have.
No, I don't think she would have.
But Penn's like, I need a better way to get my, to get my missives to my printer. So she decides to use, Madame Delacroix, is she's actually putting the papers in the dresses and taking them.
She's
and
sewing them into the skirts.
Yep, and having them delivered to the printer. And so, is that where
It's pretty brilliant, really.
It is a pretty brilliant. I mean, not what happens in the book, but that's okay. I enjoy it. And so
I don't mind that. Like, I don't mind that kind of edition. It's kind of fun.
No, because it's kind of how Colin finds out. Because Colin finds out that she's Lady Whistledown in 4. He's the first one who finds out, and the way they get together is how he finds out that she's Lady Whistledown, and she's on her way to dropping off one of the missives when he does something, as I said earlier, very chivalrous. He's furious at her, but very chivalrous. So I don't know. Anyhow. All right, so...
Angry.
Oh, Edwina and Anthony are engaged. Whatever.
Okay, so are we on episode 5 then?
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to take a brief respite?
Yeah, I'm going to go check on my dogs.
Yeah, I should go let my dog out.
Yeah, somebody should do that too. Okay, we'll be back in 2 and 2. Did you find the place okay? Sorry, it's kind of loud for a Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's fine. Why are we at the park, though?
Well, I wanted to start running drills.
Drills.
Yeah, like one-on-one passing.
Like soccer?
Yes! We need to hone them skills! Season's half over!
Wait, what is happening?
I figured we need to get in football shape for our new Ted Lasso podcast.
Okay, to be fair, it will take more than just this to get us in football shape. Also, I have a lot of questions.
Best way to understand the sport is to live it, right? Jason can use that in season 3.
Okay, legitimately, that's a really good line. But right, we don't have time to start an offshoot podcast, and no one has time to edit it.
But that's the great thing about Anchor.fm. Anchor will do all of that for us in one little place, like our own little Coach Beard.
I know, that is one of the best things about Anchor. It's free, and the built-in tools allow us to record and edit your podcast right from your phone.
Plus, they'll distribute it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, so many of the other podcasting platforms. Wait, how good is your Roy Kent impression?
Why would I be doing a Roy Kent impression?
I've been working on mine. You want to hear it?
No, there's kids everywhere. Little ears don't need to hear the F word this early.
So we're not doing this?
No, honey.
Yeah. What am I going to do with all these soccer balls and goldfish?
I don't even want to know why you have actual goldfish.
To visualize being a goldfish. Will you take half of them?
I can't guarantee my kid's not going to kill him, but yeah, okay.
We're doing this.
I believe we are not doing this.
Oh, I believe we are.
No, but we're not, though.
Be curious, not judgmental.
Right, I'm not being judgmental. I'm being realistic.
Come on.
It's a great... it's
Barbecue
a great
sauce!
idea. Oh, we don't have time. We just don't have time.
Onward!
Forward! No, you're starting a horror movie podcast with Charlotte. We don't have time.
I believe.
Oh, God. And we're back.
We're back. Bitches.
Yes. Welcome back to an adaptation of the Viscount Who Loved Me. According to Shondaland.
Yeah.
So,
it was a fever dream. The fever dream that was season 2. Are we on 6 now, or are we on...
We're on 5.
We're still on 5? Okay.
Yeah. So at this point, you and I were feeling a lot of rage.
Yep. Because
I will say I went on an arc. Mm-hmm. Okay. So like I was a bell curve. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. I peaked at my rage maybe around episode 5. Mm-hmm. And then I came down and was less ragey by the end because around episode 6 I just made a decision. So we'll get into that. But because I assume this will be straight up rage from you from here on out, and you have no notes because you were too angry. So I have notes, and I will help us through it.
Guys, I had to go back and rewatch most of 8 because I drank so much wine, I did not remember it. I remembered
you were like, I'm just going to have to hate watch the rest of this.
Yes. I literally said to Veronica, I'm like, I'm hate watching this right now. I'm hate watching it. Okay. So I mean, we're all out. I mean, they are getting married, man. They're
they are
getting
engaged.
Fucking married. They're.
I wrote, "This is fucked. Is Edwina going to marry Anthony, and is Dorset going to marry Kate?" All caps. Rage. This is bullshit.
At this point, like in my head, I was like, "Fucking do it. Just fucking do it. Whatever." And then have Edwina die or something, and then Dorset die, and then Anthony and Kate can get together.
I know. This is so. At this point, this is when high point of the episode we get a Colin Firth moment.
We do get a Colin Firth
with
moment.
Anthony. So Dorset and Kate are on like a canoe or whatever on Lake Serpentine, whatever. And he is having like a little disagreement with Dorset basically. And he's like, are you sure that knot's going to hold?
This is after I fucked her for about...
He has like been staring at Kate.
Yep. And everybody's noticing at this point.
Everyone is noticing. And he comes over and he's like, are you sure that knot is tight? And Dorset is like, yes, duh. And then somehow, like, Anthony ends up, like, tripping over Newton and then toppling both him and Dorset into the lake.
And Dorset is laughing. Like, he's
Dorset thinks it's funny. And Kate, and Anthony is pissed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at that point, Anthony graciously... Thank you, Jonathan Bailey starts stripping off his coat and his vest, and he climbs out of that water
like an Adonis,
wearing a sopping wet white shirt, just like Colin Firth.
I mean, he specifically took his jacket off.
He certainly did.
And girls...
Both Kate and Edwina are just staring at him, and Edwina is being like pretty open about it, and Kate is like, it is rude to stare. And then a second later, she's just like staring.
And Edwina looks at her like,
"What are you fucking doing?"
Yeah, yeah. I wish I'd liked Edwina more in this, but I don't.
I know, but I don't. Mostly I don't like the addition of this unnecessary storyline where you have sisters fighting with each other over a man.
And they make her so unlike the Edwina in the books too, because she's almost vapid at points. I'm almost like, this Edwina's smart, Edwina's intelligent, and she's witty, and this is not her. She's like, she's right up there with like, I could see her being friends with
Cressida.
Thank you. Yep.
I had the same thought.
Yep.
She's just saying all the right things and doing all the right things to try and marry Anthony. I mean, she claims to care about him and love him, but she doesn't know anything about him.
No.
I mean, not really.
No, because we never see them really spending any time together. Really.
No, nothing. Like, they have tea together.
Yeah. And in the book, like, they spend, like, almost nothing together. They have a couple dances, and he walks her out to the Pall Mall. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't really spend... Which may not be abnormal for the time, but, like, do you really love him? You spent no time with him.
Right. Right.
And in the book, again, she's like... He clearly has a thing for you, Kate. I'm really happy for you. Right.
And she, a number of times, kind of like takes herself out of the equation to be like, no, you guys go. You guys go do this or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's very much, she is very much a cog in the whole like process. She's part of getting them together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think I think it needs to be stressed enough because what happens at the end of this is so... Kate got fucking done dirty. Bad. In this. Kate got done real bad.
In the show or in the episode?
In the show. In the show.
Yeah, I agree. There is... Lady Danbury says something that I thought was poignant. And I believe she says it to Kate.
She does.
After passion fades and fate intervenes, who else is a woman left with but herself?
Yep.
And I was like, the truth. I mean, really, like, that's...
Yep. Because she's really... She knows that Kate's in love with Anthony.
Or at the very least, there's something there.
There's something there. And she's pretty much like... Which kind of kills me. It's like, if you see this happening... Why is no one saying... Like, you wait up till, like, the fucking wedding for someone to be like, maybe you're in love with this other person.
Maybe this isn't working. Like, maybe this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
And Daphne, like, tries to stop it.
Yep.
This is also when we meet the Sheffields.
It's Rupert! Rupert from Ted Lasso's here! It's Rupert.
Oh, you're right. I didn't even notice
Anthony
that.
Stewart Head. Yep. It's Giles from Buffy. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Fucker. I wrote the Sheffields are fucking terrible.
Yeah. Again, more stuff that we didn't fucking need. We didn't need this whole, like...
No.
And just...
Nothing about this storyline was
again,
at all...
just to make Kate a villain. That's really all this was. Is because it all comes out that Oh, but we do have the scene where Anthony pretty much says, "You were the bait of my existence."
Yes. So Anthony stands up for them at dinner.
He does.
And then he ends up talking to her before they leave for the night.
Because I think at this point, like, he's like, I've been tricked. I've been tricked by, which I'm like, really? Have you really been tricked?
Yeah, like, I mean, he was basically just thinking, like, maybe this could be an excuse to not marry Edwina.
Right. It just seemed like, to me, it was like, I don't understand exactly why he's pissed off, but fine. Like,
right.
He was going to marry somebody who didn't love, so what the fuck do you care?
So what do you care? Right. But he clearly has feelings for Kate.
Right.
And so they share this very tense moment.
It is.
In some other room where, like, they're in each other's faces.
And she's trying to get him to not break up with.
To not end their engagement, right? Yeah. And he says to her, which is an adaptation of his inner monologue in the book, because I went and looked, and on page 350, it says his inner monologue is saying, like, Kate Sheffield, the bane of my existence, the object of my desire. And so he says that to her: you are the bane of my existence and the object of all my desires.
And is this where he talks about her smell that he sent that he can't get rid of? Or is that later?
I don't remember if that's here or later. It might be later.
Because we get a couple shots of him walking past her, or her walking past him, and him like, oh, it's when they're going in. This is after everything happens. The wedding or the marriage gets called off or whatever. And they're going into the museum or whatever.
Oh,
and
yeah,
she walks
and their hands.
past him.
Pinkies,
she walks past him, and he has this look like her scent has overtaken
he, like,
him.
stops and, like, closes his eyes, and Lady Danbury sees it and is like, what are you doing?
Right, exactly. This is against which I was like, then just let those two get married. I don't understand what the fucking problem is here.
I don't understand what the fucking problem is here. Right.
No.
At this point, I kind of liked the Eloise Theo storyline, because it wasn't like, I don't know, it was just more like she had a crush on this boy. Yeah. And he was cute, and it didn't bother me at this point. It got annoying after that.
Yeah, I was just like, I just didn't, it was whatever. I mean, I guess it's just show, because I guess she was so adamant about, well, also, how about the one guy that comes to the kid who comes to call on her? That kid was like 14 years old. He gets down and starts playing marbles.
Like a joke. He starts playing marbles, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, so I guess it's to show that she really is interested in guys, because, I mean, honestly, you could be like, oh, Eloise is a lesbian.
Eloise might be gay, yeah, and that's cool too. Yeah. But she's not. It's just that, like, she isn't interested in dudes in the society that she's being presented into.
And in the book, she's very much like, I'm going to be a spinster. That's what I've chosen.
Yeah,
and I think
she really shows it. Thus far, has shown no desire.
No,
which is fine.
And I don't really know. I'd have to go back and read Eloise's book to realize when she started really wanting to be married. I mean, after she started talking, corresponding with Philip. But no, I think it was fine. It was just one of those. Okay, he's not Philip, so
right. Yeah, I mean, but it kind of does show that, like, she does not subscribe to this whole, like, you meet one dude, you marry them, like,
your cattle, like, chattel.
Yeah, like, it's more of a, do I have chemistry with this person, and do I like this person and want to talk to them? Like, it's more of a dating type scenario than like, this person is a good match for your family because you need the money or whatever. Like, this will elevate your family's status.
Yeah. Which it's like, when you think about it, it's like, it's not surprising. It shouldn't be surprising to anybody that she ends up being with somebody who she is corresponded with, hasn't actually physically seen him, and falls in love with him via letter.
Yeah, I think for her that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, that was fine.
After that, I do have a note, You Ought to Know by Alanis. Mm-hmm. This is when they're meeting in the forest on horseback. Kate and Anthony end up in the forest, and they have, like, kind of an argument out there. I don't remember what it was about. I just wrote, Jesus, the forest scene, this shit hurts.
Yeah. Because he's like, he wants to break the engagement. Mm-hmm. And he says,
oh, this is when she's like, no, this is not.
Because he says, when when this is broken, we will never see each other again. We will never, and I wonder if this is the part, it's supposed to reflect the part in the book where she's pretty much like, I need him in my life whether or not he marries Edwina or not. We're like right before the bee sting, where she's, and I'm wondering if that's supposed to be, because it's like, I'm wondering if that's what she's decided is like, I need him in my life. It doesn't matter what, but like he said, he goes, honor at some point is going to snap. Mm-hmm. He said, because I'm going to think about you literally every day of my life and want you every day of my life.
In that scene, after the dinner with the Sheffields, he says to her, do you think India is far enough away from me?
Because that's how he starts it. That's how he starts it. And I was like,
that was a really excellent scene.
I will say, here's what I'm going to say about this show, because I am not going to recommend it. I'm going to recommend that you watch a YouTube compilation of all Anthony and Kate scenes. That's what I'm going to recommend, because I think this other stuff is garbage. Yeah. But no, because that's how he starts it. And I thought, where's he going with this? Because he's like, do you think India is far enough? And then I was like, uh-oh. And then, oh my God, I do have to say. And he's, just... The look in his
you and
eyes.
I talked about this. Jonathan Bailey, an underrated actor. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, that forest scene I think is what ends episode 5, and that's like that was extremely angsty. And then we're opening on their wedding day.
Yeah, don't we have the boys have their bachelor night, and then the girls have you're right. They're I didn't write any notes about that, but the boys are like doing a bachelor night. Anthony is salty and getting drunk as hell. Because he's not happy.
Because he's not happy. He's not excited at all.
No.
And then and Colin and Benedict are with him.
Yep.
They're all drinking too much. It's super funny when Benedict and Colin are hungover the next day.
And they're like, they're asking, where is he? Like, because he's running a little fashionably late. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He also looks really good in his wedding
He
attire.
looks good in everything.
He does. He looks good.
He does. And then the women then, Mary and Kate and Edwina, are doing like what I assume is like an Indian ritual.
I forgot what that's called.
Smearing of some sort of thing on their skin.
Because she would be normally, I think, doing henna. Would be doing henna all over, but I would assume probably didn't want to include that, but...
Or, I don't know, like, it would have been a thing back then, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know, like, they didn't really explain it all that much, or at all, but it clearly was, like, it's not a thing they do in England, it's not a thing they do in the United States.
You know what I do have to say is, like, I really liked that both actresses, you could tell, like, they still had a little bit of
an Indian accent.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
I don't know. You've seen this Simone
Sex
Ashley.
Education.
Yeah, and does she have it in that? So
no, it's English. That's it.
Oh wow. So that's
I don't know. I've never heard
props.
her talk like normally.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know which is closer to her natural voice. Mm-hmm. I don't know if she's. I just tried to like move the mouse on my notebook as if that would have done a motherfucking thing. Good job. Not even drunk. Okay, where are you? Simone Ashley. Where are you from, darling? You beautiful, beautiful woman. Holy shit, she was born in 1995. Oh, her birthday is coming up. What's today? 28th?
Yeah.
Her birthday is the day this will release.
Excellent.
Wednesday. Happy birthday, Simone Ashley.
You beautiful
You are the
woman.
ripe old age of 32. Right? Is that true? No. Wait,
No.
What year is it?
That's 15 years younger than me. So
what year is... Wait, okay, so 10 years younger than me. So 27. God damn it. Okay. Oh, hello, Winifred. It does not say, full bio. Oh, also, she's 5'10", by the way.
she's tall.
She is as tall as Jonathan Bailey. Yep.
Sure she is. She's also as tall as me, so there we go.
Well, there you go. It says she's a British actress. But she does have an Indian name, Simone Ashwini Pillai, professionally known as Simone Ashley.
And maybe her family's originally from India.
Yeah. She was from Camberley, Surrey. She has a brother.
So she was born.
So she was born in England. So she probably has an English accent, like naturally. There's not a lot written about her, really.
No, but I thought that was a really nice addition, and I thought
I liked that. Mm-hmm. Same. At this point, I wrote, I LOL'd with the Queen and the Peacock. Ridiculous. I also grew up around peacocks. They're obnoxious. But they are beautiful. Also, apparently the Queen is still on coke, I see. That's another note I wrote. Who wrote... Was it Daphne who said it's not the eyes that meet, it's the souls that dance? Someone says that to Anthony.
Well, I don't
remember who it was.
Daphne's got some fucking lines in this that I was does. You go, I mourn for you, brother. It's like, oh my God. We should also talk about, like, so, because this does play a part coming up, is Kate has brought these bangles. That's the only thing I can think of, like bracelets, bangles. That's what they call it.
Yeah, they're
somewhere.
Gold with like green gemstones,
like jades in it or something. Mm-hmm. And they were her mother's, and she wants Edwina to wear them for the wedding. Mm-hmm. And at one point, Edwina's like, I can't wear them. Like, she doesn't feel comfortable.
They were meant for you.
They were meant for you. So Kate has both of them on. So that's. I mentioned that because when so then we switch over as they're getting ready, like they're dressing her. We switch over. Daphne has finally arrived for the wedding, and she's got some words for her brother.
Anthony. Yep.
And
strong ones. She's really trying to talk sense into him. Like, you have got to put a stop to this. You clearly do not love this woman.
Yeah, I mean...
And you clearly have feelings for her sister. Like, this is not a good idea. But, of course, at this point, Anthony is like, I would ruin her if I cancel the wedding.
But everyone says, and it's really funny. I was just reading another book where they mention that, like, they say if the woman begs off, it's fine.
It's generally forgiven, right?
So this is what Daphne says. It's when Daphne shares a powerful and poignant message, telling her brother, "I mourn for you, brother. All of these decisions that you seem to make and then resent us for, though they do not make you worthy of your family's respect, they simply make us pity you, nothing more."
Yeah.
And then she just says, "Peace, I'm out," and she like throws the deuces up and she leaves. Like, she's like, I don't know what else to tell you at this point.
Yeah, and I do understand his sense of duty of like not wanting to ruin Miss Edwina. I get that, but like then you should not have proposed to her.
Right.
That was a terrible decision.
Exactly. That second time, you could have just said, let her go back, and I will stay away from both of them.
Right. I mean, this, like, you put yourself in this position, and he knows it. Like, he says that to her at one point. I recognize that I have put myself in this position. I know it's my fault.
But he also says it's his duty.
Right. He fully recognizes that if he were to call off the wedding, it would ruin their family.
Yeah. Which, again, we don't get any really of that in the book, because, well, obviously it doesn't get, but we don't get that
none
much
of this happens in the book, so.
No. But even when he's describing, like, why he can't love, it's not about duty for him. That has nothing to do with it.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it probably does have a little bit, but not like this.
He knows he needs to marry because of duty, but he does not want to marry someone he loves because he is afraid.
Right. I mean it has all something to do with like what his. We're not going to see that.
No, we're not going to see that. Sign of the Times was playing during the wedding. And I wrote, how the fuck are they going to get out of this? How is there a wedding? And then, of course, Edwina is the one. So what happens is that why don't you go through that? Because you were starting to talk about it with the bangles.
Okay, so he's like, he should be looking at his beautiful bride. She looked gorgeous, but I'm sorry. Someone actually fucking stole the show. She was...
Yeah, she did.
Oh, my God. So he starts to fantasize... like he fantasizes that it's actually Kate in front of him dressed as the bride, and she's playing with this bangle on her arm. And I don't know, she it almost seems like she does it consciously, not even subconsciously, but consciously, because it unlatches and it falls to the ground, And he just literally stops the wedding, and they both reach for it at the same time. So he goes around Edwina, and then they just share this look. With a good pause of, say, about 5 seconds, 7 seconds.
Yeah. It's a poignant
It's
pause.
a pregnant pause. Yeah.
It's a pregnant pause.
Yeah. And Edwina's looking between, like, pretty much the two of them and looking down at herself, and she's just kind of like, she gets it at that point.
Yeah.
She gets that there is something going on. Like, these two people care for each other. And then she gets fucking furious. And then she's like, I need, and I felt really bad because she did start to have a panic attack.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I need a break. I need to,
I need a
moment. And
Sprints
he's just
out of that chapel.
and he's just standing there. They're all like, and so Kate runs after her, and so does Mary. And then the fucking accusations start flying at this point.
Yep.
And this is where I was fucking done with Edwina. I was fucking done with her.
Yeah, and I wrote, good, Edwina running away is the only option. That was the only way that they could have gotten out of this. I also wrote, the only people who look good in lavender are people of color.
And yellow.
Yes.
Definitely not Penelope Featherington.
No, poor Penelope in those fucking yellow dresses. And this is where I wrote, I don't like that Kate is becoming the villain.
Yep. Because she feels like that she's done this, that this is her fault. And she's made to believe that Mary even makes her feel like this is her fault.
Yeah.
So,
and I just don't like that there was no, like, she was truly trying to look out for her sister. And in the last episode, remember, I don't think we touched on this, but this is in the episode 4 when the Sheffields are there. That is when all of them find out about the dowry.
Yeah, that's because that's
not
what starts,
just Anthony.
Yeah, that's what starts that whole big scene is that
It's not just Anthony finding out. It's also Mary and Edwina finding out about the dowry.
And Mrs. Bridgerton and so and
so this is 2 episodes in a row where Kate is being like chastised for withholding information
and loving her sister,
right,
and loving someone else.
And it is during this part. So Edwina says, like, I need some time. You got to let me have some time to think. Mary says to Kate, go anywhere else. Leave this room. Go anywhere else. And so Kate goes.
That pissed me off too.
Yeah, Kate goes into like a closet and cries. Eventually, she and Anthony end up in the closet talking. And she is like, I cannot be in here with you. This is extremely improper. I should not be here with you. And she does end up leaving, but like it's a very tense moment
because he grabs her.
Yeah,
and I actually thought of you. I was like, oh, because of like the hands and the touching at that point. I know like that was a big thing for you in the book. So
yeah. At some point, Anthony does go to see Edwina, and they do talk. And this is the point where you get sort of a flash of book Anthony, where he says, like, you in the book you get this scene where he is talking to Kate and saying, like, this is what you can expect out of me in our marriage. Love is not one of those things. And you get like a flash of that. You don't get it, but you get
when
Anthony
he's talking to Edwina,
talking to Edwina about like this was, and Mary is in the room for this entire conversation. He says like, this is
our
you and I
and
were our roles. Like we have a lot in common in the fact that we have roles that we need to fill, and we can fulfill those roles together. You need to save your family. I need to continue my line. You are the diamond. I am the Viscount.
Your sister will leave for India and she will never be a part of our life again. And I was like,
yep.
Oh.
And at one point, I think he literally says she is the thorn in our side, and she will be gone, and we will never have to think about her again. And she says, like, do you even love me? And he remains silent.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't. So, like, sort of, at least Anthony admits to her, like, no, I don't love you. I mean, he essentially tells her without telling her. by remaining silent.
Yeah. And then, okay, so at the same time, too, around this time, because everything has gone to fucking hell, and, like, the queen is, like, really trying to figure out who Whistledown is. So she has her manservant or whatever, like, try to, like, figure out who of the people, like, the young people at the party could possibly be Whistledown. So he's, like, been spreading fake rumors around.
Yep.
And so I think all of this, she thinks it's Eloise.
Yeah, when all is said and done, she thinks that Lady Whistledown is Eloise. But also, like, the queen is like, you guys better figure this out because I have hosted this wedding.
Yeah, and
you guys had better figure this bullshit out today.
Well, and we do get this. I did like this scene where Edwina comes in and she's supposed to be making her decision whether or not she's gonna, and the king comes, because I was like wondering, were we gonna see the king in this point? Because if you don't,
that was rough.
Yeah, if you don't remember from the first season, it's the madness of King George. So it's King George who's supposed to be like losing his mind.
Yeah, and it's clear from when we first meet him in season 1, like he has dementia or Alzheimer's or like something. He has some sort of like degenerative brain disease,
right?
Which is why he's like hidden away from society. And they specifically talk about that because she's hosting the wedding like at the palace.
Yeah, and they make a comment earlier about like him like making
he was
sure
having
no one
a
gets,
good day.
Yeah, and no
she
one
was saying make sure
wing.
No one gets into his wing.
Yeah.
And so he busts in on this scene where Edwina is like trying to make her decision in front of the queen and say like, I yes, I will, or no, I won't marry Anthony today. And he walks in. And again, all of this is unnecessary. Like none of this was in the book. None of this needs to be in the show.
No, it
was a very, very sad moment because in that scene in season 1, we see like the queen clearly loves her husband very much.
Right.
And he clearly loves her. And he thinks it's their wedding day and is worried about where their congregation is. And it's very clear. So it's Lady
Danbury. I don't think Bridgerton's there.
I don't think the Bridgertons are there. I think it's Lady Danbury
and Mary.
Lady Mary. Edwina. I feel like there's one more person there, but I don't know who that person would have been.
Maybe it was
Lady Bridgerton. Maybe Lady Bridgerton.
Maybe she was there.
So they're all in there. Lady Bridgerton and Lady Danbury share like a hysterical laughing moment.
Yeah.
That is very sweet. Before this. So then I think it's Lady Bridgerton, Lady Danbury, Lady Mary, and Edwina all talking to the queen. And then the king barges in and Edwina says some very nice things to the king that like appeases him.
Yeah.
And she basically says like, the queen, your beautiful bride is getting ready. Why don't you go and have a rest before the ceremony?
A brief respite.
And so then because the guards were like trying to take him away and he was fighting with them. And so that's when like Edwina stepped in and was like, you just go have a rest and then we'll
she has an exchange with the queen too when they were looking at the diamonds and stuff, like the tiaras and everything.
Right.
And pretty much like the queen pretty much tells her like, you deserve a love match.
Yeah.
Like, and so I think that then seeing the king come in is kind of reinforces that. It's like, I deserve better than this. And I'm like, well, actually, you really don't, you bitch. But
yeah.
Because your character fucking sucks in this.
Yeah, I wrote, show Edwina is a bitch after her sister has given her every goddamn thing.
Yep.
She says she won't have any. She tells Kate, you will not be any part of this decision. This is a decision that I am making for myself. It is purely my decision. And I applaud her for recognizing the opportunity, but god damn it, did you really have to tear your sister down in the meantime? And in that moment, she says to Kate, you are my half-sister.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, that was uncalled for.
Yeah, this is... Yep. Oh, but that's okay, because she gets to be with the nephew of the queen. Don't worry about that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Fuck her.
Then I wrote, I hate the entire Featherington line. And then the king busting in... what about us from Pink was the end of episode 6.
Yeah.
Very glad the queen didn't force them to marry just to appease her, like to appease herself. And at the end of this episode is when Kate and Anthony finally kiss. And it is explosive, that kiss.
It is.
It is very hot and very, like...
It'll be on your YouTube compilation.
It'll be on your YouTube compilation. The thing is, like, you can feel the longing between them when that kiss happens.
Because she says, like, if I could stop... What she say? If I could stop time in this moment and just revel in it. That, like, there's no future.
Yeah, I don't want to leave.
Right.
Because when we leave, reality sets in. But if we're here...
Right. Because Edwina pretty much, like, sends notes to both of them.
Oh, right, yeah.
So she can come and tell them that the wedding's off. And I was like, fucking, what? Also, she's in this wedding gown for most of the episode. Yeah. I was like, at some point, can you just change your clothes? Seriously?
Yeah. She sends a note to Kate that makes it seem like Anthony has asked her to come to the chapel, and she sends a note to Anthony making it seem like Kate wants him to come to the chapel.
Yep.
And so they show up to the chapel, and she's like, you called for me, or he's like, you called for me, and she says, I thought you called for me. And then of course Edwina walks in.
Yep. So then we go to the 7th episode. We're almost there, man. We're almost there.
We are almost there. I did have a note here that says the show is gorgeous. The scenery, the costumes. I mean, it's still all beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful.
It is. I mean, you can't fault that. I mean, I don't know how much money they put into it, but it's like, can you put a little bit more into that storytelling?
Yeah, a little bit more into the storytelling. I wrote, the Queen threatening Eloise, ridiculous. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, and she's pretty much telling her, you have to, like, prove to me that you're not Whistledown.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to, like, ruin the Bridgertons, pretty much.
Yep. And then I wrote, who gives a fuck if the wedding didn't happen? Because now the Bridgertons and the Sharmas are trying to figure out, like, what is the narrative? How are we going to control this?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, who fucking cares, man?
I mean, honestly, she would then, if she has called off the wedding, there's no shame. She's the one who called it off.
Right. And, like, both families are like, well, we should go out and promenade this morning so that people can see that we're okay.
Those two people who are in love should get fucking married. I don't understand what the problem is here.
I know. And it's like a whole thing, and it just seems so fucking weird. And then, like, they start scheming to, like, find narratives that they can kind of be together on. And, like, it's just, I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. And there is a moment where the two families are sitting together and trying to figure out, like, how are we going to control this narrative? And something happens. Oh, I think Newton comes in and, like, jumps toward Anthony. Mm-hmm. And Kate is, like, trying to get him off. And the two of them are standing very close together. And Edwina looks at them and goes, have they always been like this? And I just didn't notice.
And literally,
and in my mind, I was like, yes, girlfriend. It has been like this. And yes, you did not notice.
And, like, literally everybody was like, yeah. I'm like, again, no, things that somebody should have told somebody before it got too far.
Yeah, this really could have been stopped. Mm-hmm. I wrote, the part of this I find the most unreal is that the Queen cares about a gossip rag.
Right. Now, like, I hate to keep going back to the book.
Why? It's beautiful.
Well, not in this, but the 4th book, because it does deal. This is where we're dealing with a lot of the 4th book.
Yeah.
Is, again, Queen's not in it at all. But what Colin is so upset about when he finds out is that she's going to get found out that she's Lady Whistledown. And what he says is, you don't understand, for 10 or 11 years at this point, you have insulted literally everybody in England. She's like, I've said some nice things too. He's like, they're not going to think about that. It's going to be the people who you have. He's like, Penelope, there will be people who want to hurt you. Mm-hmm. And
yeah.
So I think that's the part. It's like, so maybe that's what they're trying to do with the Queen, is that, but like,
trying to, like, demonstrate the damage that
could be done.
She could be doing.
Yeah.
I also wrote, Benedict is just high all the time now.
I guess.
Cool.
High and painting.
I mean, the Queen is, I guess. And then I wrote, so they go on, like, a joint venture together. They go on an outing to the museum, right, to an art museum. And I wrote, finally, with the flowers for the ladies, because this is finally when Anthony brings flowers for all 3 women.
Yep.
And all of that goes back to the very beginning. When Anthony starts to court Edwina and shows up the following morning after like the first time that they met at the ball or whatever, and he brings them all flowers because we talked about this in the episode of the book where like Kate had never received flowers before, and he says last season when my sister came out and she was declared the diamond, and one of her suitors brought flowers for both Daphne and my mother. And Kate says, and what happened to that suitor? And he gets this like arrogant smirk and he says, she married him.
Yep.
So he finally brings flowers for all three of them. They're like, it's like in the book, it's like a giant bouquet that she realizes is now like 3, but they're still substantial. And in the show, it's like
this little
3 small, like triple rose bouquets.
Yeah.
They're still very pretty.
Which Edwina just passes right over to the footman. Yeah. Which I was like, I don't blame her on that one. I
blame her, but also chill out.
Yeah.
I wrote, LOL, Lady Mary giving Anthony shit because he is escorting her like through the museum.
Yeah.
And he is saying to her like, I am truly sorry. I never meant to cause harm to your family. I never meant to hurt any of your any of you. And she says something like, it is true that men often take too long to realize their culpability.
Yep.
And I was like, Lady Mary slam dunk. Like, that was beautiful. Sorry, Winnie. Also, at this point, I wrote the Gentleman Boxers Club thing. Like,
I could give two shits about that.
The story is too much. I don't care. It's just not necessary.
No.
I like his character. It's just none of this is necessary in season 2.
No.
None of it.
Nope. And
I got it in season 1 because, like, Simon was boxing.
Right.
But in season 2, none of this is necessary. This is all extraneous shit.
Nope. We also get, so Eloise is, of course, freaking out, and Penn comes across her as she's freaking out and was like, I've got to prove that I'm not Whistledown. So Penelope's trying to figure out, she's wrestling with herself, like, what is she going to do to help Eloise out of this situation?
Eloise, yeah.
And so she goes to Madame Delacroix, and actually Madame Delacroix is the one who actually gives her the idea that she ends up finally using is pretty much like, you have to say something about her. You have to write about her then. And
because she's never written anything about Eloise.
Nope.
But she has written about all the Featheringtons, disparagingly. Talking about how their dresses are ugly and how they don't match their color. And
she constantly talks about how Penelope is she compares her to citrus fruit all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is funny when you know.
It is funny.
So we also get Anthony kind of like corners Kate in the museum, and he's like, I think we need to talk about this kiss that we had that was fucking amazing. And she's like, no, we're good. He's like, no, we really should.
Nothing happened.
No. And at this point, like, he's like, we probably should talk about it, but I don't know what he's expecting from it to talk about it.
I don't either. I didn't get that either. I think at that point he's like, I am not betrothed anymore, and I have feelings for you.
Yeah, I mean,
and I can't let it go. And as we all know, anytime you have a thing for anyone and then you kiss them, it's not going to make the feelings go away.
No, it's not like, I'm going to do this and it's just going to be like, it's going to be like a balm, and I'll be like, oh, I'm good on this person.
It's fine.
It's fine.
No, what's going to happen is that it is going to fester and make it bigger. Like,
and you'll want that person more.
Right.
You'll want to do dirty things with them.
Dirtier, so many dirty things.
Oh, we'll get there, because I have issues.
Get there.
I have issues.
Oh, okay.
I have an issue with the sex scene.
Them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I do. I do. I have a lot of one being her being a virgin and what happens, and I was like, okay, movie magic. All right.
Movie magic.
Call back.
Yep.
Shout out.
But yeah, so they do this art museum thing.
Yeah.
But after that, so they're like, we should host a ball together.
Because that sounds like a really good idea. Because everybody's been cutting us directly in the fucking, like, society. We should just have a ball.
We should just have a ball and act like everything is totally fine.
Right.
But one of my favorite scenes from the entire show happens. So they host this ball.
Oh, what they do?
Literally no one shows up.
Yeah.
And Anthony is like, well, Hyacinth, get down here. And let's dance.
And little Gregory,
And little Gregory, because the kid, like, those kids are not out yet. And so they're not allowed to be, like, down at balls. But he calls them downstairs, and they, both the Sharmas and the Bridgertons, they all dance together. And it is just, like, the most wholesome, sweet thing.
It is. I did like that scene.
It was a beautiful scene. And because all of them kind of let loose for a minute. But then, of course, like, by the end, they're like, oh, and this is awkward again. Yeah,
because, of course, it ends up that Kate and Anthony
end up dancing together and, like,
making eyes.
Right. And of course that entire thing is interrupted by the new Whistledown being delivered,
which Penelope did it.
Talks some shit about Eloise.
Yep,
and Mr. Theo Sharp.
Yep, and I mean, honestly, this should have ruined Eloise. Like, this would have ruined her. Her reputation would be gone.
Yeah.
Like, they would have to either, like, send her to the country at this point. But that doesn't happen.
Nope. At this point, I wrote "Shut the fuck up" by Weena, but I don't know why.
Kate and Edwina engage in a heated discussion before Kate storms outside. Because I think Edwina sees them dancing together, and then she starts to have a fucking hissy fit. And so Kate's like, I'm fucking done, man. I don't even know what else to do. And of course she goes outside and runs into Anthony. Mm-hmm. And they have arguing, like they have a little spat outside. And then they don't have a spat anymore.
Mm-mm. I will say, okay, tell me your thoughts on the sex scene.
Well, okay, because I specifically fucking read the sex scene last time, I wanted a modicum of that. I wanted "you're beautiful." Yeah. I wanted that part. Yeah. And I mean, I almost thought about rereading it out here, just be like, this is what we didn't get. Because while it's hot, it's like, I don't know. There was just
this element in the book where Kate was insecure about the fact that he had been courting her sister, and she believes that her sister is far more beautiful than she is. Mm-hmm. And so her concern in the book is that he is thinking of her sister while they're having sex. Well, and he says to her, like, you are so beautiful, you are so fucking perfect. And she freezes.
Yep.
And she's
I'm
like,
gonna fucking do it. I don't fucking care.
Go find it.
I'm gonna read it.
Yeah, I would like you to. It's so beautiful. Like, this moment where she is having, like, a moment of insecurity and a moment of doubt during her first time ever having sex. And this is like, I mean, I think anyone, not man or woman, just any person, sorry, that was very binary of me, but any person who is having sex for the first time, like, you are opening yourself up to a person in a whole different way than you ever have before. It's a very vulnerable position. Mm-hmm. And then you have this, like, insecurity rear its ugly head while you're in the midst of it. That's a traumatic moment. Mm-hmm. And Anthony is just like, what are you talking about? Like,
I found it.
Did you find it? Okay, go. Oh, I love this scene.
I'll do what I did last time, so I'm going to skip around. Okay. And so he starts with, as, oh God, he groaned, plunging back into the hilt, throwing his head back as his spine arched. You are so beautiful, so unbelievably, Kate. And then he asks, what's wrong? And she stiffens, nothing. And he's like, that's not true, he said in a low voice. And he's, again, by guys, inside of her.
Yeah, literally.
For the first time. Literally just took her virginity.
Yep. It is their wedding.
It is their wedding night.
They just got home. Yeah.
He goes, She says, "You called me beautiful," she whispered. For a good 10 seconds, he just stared at her. For the life of him, he couldn't understand how that was a bad thing. Okay, so, and then it goes on, and she says, "I'm not beautiful," she whispered, her eyes meeting his. She looked shattered and broken, but before he could contradict her, she asked, "Who were you picturing?" He blinked. "I beg your pardon?" And she goes, Who do you think of when you make love to me?" Anthony felt as he'd been punched in the gut. The breath whooshed from his body. "Kate," he said slowly, "Kate, you're mad. I know a man doesn't have to feel desire for a woman to find pleasure with her," she cried out. "You think I don't desire you?" he choked out. God in heaven, he was ready to explode right now within her, and he hadn't even moved the last 30 seconds. And then she says, Do you think of Edwina?" And he says, "How could I possibly confuse the two of you?" Kate felt her face crumple, felt hot tears stinging at her eyes. She didn't want to cry in front of him. Oh God, especially not now. But it hurt. It hurt so much. His hand grasped her cheeks with stunning speed, forcing her to look at him. And this is where, oh my God, guys, my heart.
Yep.
"Listen to me," he said, his voice even and intense. "And you listen well, because I'm only going to say this once. I desire you. I burn for you. I can't sleep at night for wanting you. Even when I didn't like you, I lusted for you. It's the most maddening, beguiling, damnable thing, but there it is. And if I hear one more word of nonsense from your lips, I'm going to have to tie you to the bloody bed and have my way with you 100 different ways until you finally get it through your silly skull that you are the most beautiful and desirable woman in England. And if everyone else doesn't see that, then they're bloody all fools." How do you not include that?
It literally wrote itself. Copy paste.
Because then he asks her twice after he goes, when his brows arched into what had to be the most arrogant expression ever to grace a face. "Is that understood?"
Yep.
And then he says, "Is that..." He leaned down until his nose was a mere inch from hers. "Is that understood?"
And is he holding her face at that time? He will
yes,
not let her look away.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. And that's such a beautiful moment where even though he claims to not love her at this time, even though he obviously does, but he doesn't realize it yet. Even though he claims to not love her at this time, he is still reassuring her of how desirable she is and how beautiful she is.
Right. And I think that was my main part of the anger about this whole scene.
Yeah.
The other one was she's a virgin, and it was just bam, I was like, okay. Because even in The Duke and I, in the show, we have a moment of she's a virgin, so I'm going to take this slow.
Yeah.
And this was just well, Kate must be getting around.
So here's the thing. All right. So Kate and Anthony get down outside, right? Yep. The sequence itself is hot. Let's just be real about that.
I mean, you definitely, he starts going downtown. I was like, okay.
But
it was definitely PG-13. It was definitely we see one butt, and that's really all we see. Oh no, we see her boobs later.
We see her boobs at the end of the final episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, it was far more PG than the first season. Right?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Far more.
He didn't go down on her in a library, ladder. No,
he did not.
No.
However, so that happens, right? He wakes up the following morning because it starts to rain, and she's gone. You've cut to her. She's having a panic attack in her bedroom.
Right.
And it's oh my God, what the fuck have I done?
Yep.
So while she's in her bedroom, though, she's having flashbacks. And in that flashback, there is an incredible shot of his face between her legs.
Yes.
And I was the intensity in his eye. I watched that entire fucking thing twice because the intensity in his eyeballs.
It's for the YouTube compilation.
It'll definitely be on the compilation. It was so intense, very hot. Very hot. But yeah,
he was making a meal. Let's just say that. He was having a hungry man meal. It's fine.
So he probably prepared her more. than they would have shown in like the initial compilation. That's all I'm saying. Because they chose, like they filmed that scene, clearly, but they did not show it the first time. They only showed it in her flashbacks.
So,
which I found interesting.
And when we get, so after they do have sex, oh yeah, so he's coming, he comes, and then he's coming the next day. He's looking for her because he's going to propose to her.
Yeah, he finds the ring, and goes to her, he calls on her in the morning.
Yeah, he goes to Lady, because they've been staying at Lady Danbury's house.
Yeah, Again, something that does not happen in the book. But he goes to call on her, and the footmen are like talking to each other, and he's like, can you please he's sopping wet because it's raining, and he says to them like, can you please, it's urgent, can you please just go get her? And the one turns to him and says, it would appear as though she's not here, and one of the horses is also missing. Enter a very dramatic sequence where Kate, albeit scared of thunderstorms, is now racing through the park.
Because she doesn't say anything about being scared of thunderstorms in this series.
No, she says something. In the library, she said something like, I can't sleep during thunderstorms. Like, it's minimalized. It's nothing like it is in the book. So she's racing on a horse through the park. Yeah. And so when Anthony hears, of course, again, the horse thing is not, I'm not upset about the horse thing. I thought that was a fun addition. Yeah. So Anthony is like, I know exactly where she is. He grabs a horse. He goes to find her. He does find her. He sees as she tries to like jump over something, which is a callback to when the very first time they met. And the horse won't take the jump.
Nope.
And she falls off the horse. Now, this is in the book reminiscent of the carriage accident. Yeah. Now, this is far more serious. Like she breaks her leg in the carriage accident, but in the show, she like hits her head. She's unconscious. Like somehow Anthony gets her back. Of course, there's a carriage that rolls up, and I'm like, how did that fucking happen? You're in the middle of goddamn, like, that was my first note. We're in episode 8 now. Yes. That's my first note. Oh yes, of course there is a carriage coming by. Also, at this point, I wrote Theo Sharp cherry pop. Oh, that's when I texted you and said, there you go. And then I wrote, was this normal in 1814? Just regular Coke use?
Probably.
At any rate, so Anthony gets Kate back to Lady Danbury's house. They call a doctor. He is distraught. Mind.
And Edwina sees this and realizes, like, I think this is, because this is where we have a turnaround. Edwina is actually nice to Kate for the rest of this episode. Yeah. I think it's because she realizes that Anthony is absolutely in love with Kate. Yeah.
It is fucking...
It's brutal.
Heartbreaking. Like, it is pretty brutal, that scene where he brings her in. Somehow, he must take her to Lady Danbury's house, he does. Right? But Benedict shows up there. Doesn't Benedict come in? And he's like, what is going on?
No, I don't think so.
I thought it was Benedict, the guy. He tells someone, this is my fault. Because he knows what has transpired between the two of them, but no one else does.
Benedict at one point goes to see her at some point because he comes to Anthony and he says, have you seen her at all?
I remember him asking, like, have you seen her at all? And he says no.
And it had been a week and he hadn't gone to see her.
Right. Because she's in a coma for like a fucking week. She's unconscious for a week. She finally wakes up. Obviously, Edwina and Mary are like beside themselves happy.
And what's the first question she asks?
Kate? She asks if Lord Bridgerton came to see her.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, no.
And they're like, he found you in the park. Like, he rescued you in the park rather gallantly and brought you here.
But hasn't seen you all week.
Yeah. Now, okay. I'm going to skip over. I don't care about the fucking Boxer Club or any of the Featherington bullshit. Nope. So I'm skipping over that. Now, I cried at this scene. So Anthony, Lady Bridgerton, Anthony is like in his study or whatever. Violet comes in and tells him that Kate is awake. And he immediately starts crying. And she sits down next to him and is talking to him. And she brings up the birth of Hyacinth and the death of Edmund and how he had to take on so much responsibility and how she was so emotionally unavailable for him at that time. And she talks about how the love that she felt for Edmund was completely worth the pain she felt of losing him.
Yep.
And that she would never, ever trade that for anything. And I was just fucking crying.
It's a beautiful scene. It's a beautiful
scene. It is a beautiful... I wrote in all caps, the skill, the instincts, the talent. The two of them have, I think, some of the most powerful scenes in this entire season. Because you have, like, the shared past trauma of the two of them. And, like, the regret from her standpoint of, like, her son being forced into a position that he should not have had to assume, especially at such a young age.
Right.
And then her own, like, mother guilt.
Right. And then seeing him make these decisions that...
Yeah. That very clearly were... They have impacted, those past experiences and the shared trauma have impacted him so greatly that he has made these decisions because of it. And I was just crying.
Yeah.
It was just like, God, that was sad. But brilliantly done. Those two actors, just brilliantly done.
Yep. Well, then he goes, it's enough that he's going to visit her then.
Yeah.
And she shoots him down.
She does shoot him down. Because I think she at this point, she still does not believe that he loves her. And he doesn't say it. He just says, like, you know, I've compromised you, so, like, we should get married.
Which is what a girl definitely wants to hear. It's like, oh,
absolutely,
yes, absolutely.
What you want to hear.
I stuck my penis in you, so we should get married, guys.
Yeah. And she's like, no. I mean, and the thing is, like, again, brilliant acting. She will not look at him when she turns him down. She is staring straight ahead, like, toward the end of the bed, and it's just like, no, this is not, we're not doing this. I'm going back to India. You will stay here. You will find another wife.
Yep. And I mean, she's gonna go through with it. I mean, we get to the next scene is the ball.
Yep.
And she's like,
the feathering.
She's leaving the next. Yeah, the feathering, because all of a sudden they got money now.
Which is false, but yeah.
Right. Because they're fleecing people, whatever. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Brain. Oh, and so, and she's literally leaving the next day for India.
Yep. So she's packing. She hasn't even decided if she's going to the ball yet, whereas everyone else is ready to go. And so Mary comes in and is like, are you coming? And Kate is like, I still have to pack. Like, I don't know that it's a good idea that I go.
Yeah. And
they
get
have
Wrecking
a beautiful exchange.
Yeah.
The two of them.
Who, Edwina and Kate?
And, no, Kate and Mary.
Oh, Kate and Mary. Mm-hmm. And Edwina is actually the one who kind of, like, tries to convince her to marry Anthony. A little bit. Like, sort of. Not where she should have been.
Right. During all of this, Anthony is talking to Gregory about their dad.
Oh, yes.
So Anthony is in his study, staring at the photo of Edmund, or not a photo, at the painting of Edmund.
Painting, yeah.
And Gregory walks in, and it's like, my Latin tutor says I'm lazy, like, whatever it is. It's some sort of, like, school-related issue. And Gregory asks him, like, was he like me? Am I anything like him, or was he more like you? And then Gregory has second thoughts and tries to leave. And Anthony calls him back. And the two of them talk about Edmund a little bit. And Gregory says something like, someone says, like, that he was a bit of a prankster. I wish I could have played pranks on him or whatever. I wish he could have played pranks on me, whatever it was. And there's just like a sad, tense moment. And Anthony says, I wish that too. And Violet overhears this. She's out in the hall, and she can hear what they're saying. That was a fucking moment, man.
Yeah.
Because Anthony realizes, like, I don't talk about him because it's so painful for me, and it is impacting my siblings.
Yeah.
And that's
because they don't
fair.
feel like they can't talk about him either.
Right.
They don't
and of
talk
course,
about
the
Bruno.
youngest of them, they will not remember him at all. Gregory and Hyacinth wasn't even fucking born yet when he died. Gregory won't remember him.
You don't talk about Bruno. You don't talk about Edmund.
You do not talk about Bruno. At this point, I also wrote Ashley Simone is everything.
Well, we get that fucking ball, and then we get what song did we get at the ball?
Hang on. Oh, Wrecking Ball. Hang on. So I have a few notes before that. All right. Okay. First of all, I have I kind of like the Eloise Benedict relationship. I liked it in last season too.
Yeah.
And then I wrote in all
caps.
They're
all smoking again.
Yep, they are. And then I wrote in all caps, that fucking stage is motorized. How? Did you notice that? At the final ball, the stage that the string players are on is spinning. How?
Movie magic!
Movie magic! I wrote that would not have been possible.
Nope.
Penn's hair at the Featherington Ball. Gorgeous.
Oh, love it.
Fucking beautiful. And then Kate in the orange gown. Chef's kiss. So beautiful. She looks so fucking good in that gown. Oh, and then they get to dance together.
They do.
Oh, and this is when Colin smashes that fucking necklace again. Who fucking cares? But yes, Wrecking Ball. Anthony and Kate dance.
And everybody's looking at him. Everyone's like, what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the queen supposedly is setting up Edwina with her nephew, whatever.
Oh, yeah, that was... Which I actually thought was kind of funny because she had tried to set her nephew, the prince, up with Daphne.
That's right.
And it didn't work out because then there was, the whole thing with her and Simon.
Right.
And so...
Making
out in the garden, and Anthony caught them and was like, you better fucking marry my sister, which led to the almost duel.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So I kind of thought it was funny, like a throwback to a storyline.
And Edwina won't marry him, and he'll just move on to the next girl next season.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Of course, during this, Eloise figures out that Penelope is Whistledown.
This is bullshit. This is absolute fucking bullshit. Why is Eloise in her room, in Penelope's room? Why? Why would she even think that she is Whistledown?
Well,
maybe because
there was a comment, specifically there was a comment made where Penn was gossiping about people. Mm-hmm. And Eloise was like, you don't usually do this with me.
Oh, yeah.
And you sound a lot like Whistledown in this moment. And so, there's this silent moment where, Penelope says some, gossipy type things. And then Eloise just slowly looks at her with, wide eyes. And you can almost see her brain, whirling.
Well, because of the Theo thing, too. I think that's probably what it is, too. Because the only person
because
who
else would have known? Because Penn specifically said to Eloise, people have been talking about you and Theo.
Right.
And eventually we find out, Eloise was like, if people have been talking, why didn't Whistledown write about it weeks ago? And
then she does.
Yep.
But this exchange, for one, okay, so Eloise does find out that Penn is Whistledown at her wedding, actually. And she's like, and Penelope says in the book, because I just fucking read it, was like, I am so sorry I never told you. And she goes, no, you were not supposed to. I'm glad you didn't. That's a secret that you should have kept. You kept it really well for 11 years. She's like, no. I mean, so she's not mad at all. I mean, she's mad because, it's her scandal. But it's as we just said, she's not getting really ruined out of this.
Yeah,
unless that's how they play it. Like that's how she meets Philip, is that they send her out to the. I don't know, but their relationship is done.
Yeah,
and it
like
was
in the show. You mean
in the show, and it's the high point of this whole episode or this whole series was their friendship.
Yeah,
was for the first season. And in the books, it's the same thing. These two women are going to, as they joke, like they're going to die spinsters together. Like they joke all the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know. It
was a bummer. I was really. I've not read. I've been reading as we go with the show.
Yeah.
So I've not read 3 or 4 or 5. Like I haven't read any of the rest of them. So you have much more background on how the rest of the series goes, or at least how the next couple in the series go. So I don't have anything to compare it to from that aspect, but I was disappointed that, like, again, like, why are we pitting women against each other? Why do we have to show this?
This is supposed to be like women, like almost a women empowerment almost, but I'm like, no, you're just really honestly just showing women at their cattiest.
Yep. You're showing like the darkest, saddest, ugliest sides. And that bothers me. Why are we doing that? Why? The entire show, like, really is about like a woman who is running her own business without anyone knowing. Yep. And even if you bring in like Madame Delacroix into it, a woman running her own business and then still being like beaten down by society. So why are we having women turn against each other like this? It's just not fucking necessary.
Well, and
it didn't happen in the source material.
Again, bring up 4 is Penelope says, and I think this is like, she's not ashamed of what she's done as Whistledown. She's proud of it. She's like, this is my life. This was my legacy. This is what I have to show for my life. If I'm going to be a spinster, I can at least go back and look at these. And so, but instead, what we're gonna gain from that is that it destroyed the relationship with her best friend, who. Right. The whole point of the books is the reason. So, for instance, Lady Danbury loves Penelope, and she loves Eloise because in the books, because she says that they're the only ones with half a brain in their heads, with more than half a brain in their heads. So, like, the exchanges between Lady Danbury, which are few and far between in all of these books, like, she's not like in the fucking every episode.
She's not like a major character the way that she is in the show.
No, right. But she's very supportive of these two girls, and all of their interactions. Like, she's the one who actually tells Penn, "There's more to you than what's on the surface. There's more to you than what people perceive,"
which is what Penn needs.
Right. So we don't even like. It's very disheartening. Is that how they're going to ruin these relationships?
Yeah.
But.
That's so frustrating.
But then we get this is where Anthony.
So then fireworks happen. Literally, fireworks are going off. Yeah. At which point, I gained a modicum of respect for Lady Featherington. Tiny modicum of respect for Lady Featherington, who is trying to stand up for her daughters.
Yeah.
All right. So I paused and like wrote the quote down. Because he doesn't say this. Does he? He doesn't say this in the book.
I honestly cannot remember what he says, so I don't know.
I don't think he does. I can probably search it.
We'll start reading, and I've got the book open. So
okay, you search the book. Okay, so what he says to Kate when he finally, like, for real proposes to Kate. What he says is he tells her that he loves her. And he says, "I know I am imperfect, but I will humble myself before you because I cannot imagine my life without you. And that is why I want to marry you."
No.
It's still beautiful, though. It's worth it.
It is very pretty, but no, it's not in there.
That is worth the deviation, in my opinion. In the book, he says, like, something like, "In this moment," when they're in the gazebo, after they're caught. Mm-hmm. And he agrees to marry her. He says something like, "In this moment, you are perfect. In this moment, everything is perfect." Like, that's kind of what alluded to me. Because he was saying, I am imperfect, but I will humble myself before you.
Oh, here he goes. Yes, he says, Kate felt her head fall back. His voice was low and seductive. It almost made her feel like she'd been born for this moment. He says, "You're perfect," he whispered, his large hands moving urgently over her body, one settling on her waist and the other moving towards the gentle swell of her breast. "Right here, right now, in this moment, in this garden, you're perfect." And that's what she said. She felt beautiful. She felt perfect. And right there, right then, she couldn't help adore the man who made her feel that way. But yeah, you're at the gazebo. I was going to look back and see what he says when at the carriage. Because that's when...
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, that is an intense moment.
Okay, he says...
Because in the carriage accident, she's conscious the whole time. I mean, she's broke her leg, you know? Which was a much bigger deal in 1814 than it is in 2022. Like, as a person who has broken a bone, like
she could die. She could have
died, you know.
Yeah, and she could die later of infection. Yeah,
right.
No, she just really. There's not much.
In the carriage?
No, I'm looking at that, and he tells her he loves her, but like, actually, honestly, the better part is when he starts to cry.
Is that's not in the carriage?
No, it is. But when he says, "I love you, Kate," he said chokingly, "It took me a while to figure it out, but I do, and I had to tell you today." And then she goes, "You have pretty great timing." I'm looking for where he says, okay. Anthony grabbed the last piece of wood that stood in his way and he heaved, but it didn't budge. Don't do this to me, he muttered. "Not now. It isn't her time. Do you hear me? It isn't her time." He felt something wet on his cheeks and dimly realized that it was tears. It was supposed to be me, he said, choking on the words. "It was supposed to be me." And then just as he was preparing to give that last piece of wood another desperate yank, Kate's fingers tightened like a claw on his wrist. What the devil are you talking about? But, like, yeah, I mean... It's he says "I love you" a bunch of different times, but it's not as not that part.
Oh God.
But we've had so many other things that he has said that have been beautiful that you're like, okay, we're good. Like, you know, he does tell her he loves her. I mean, and
I love this book so much.
I know. I over the years, I don't know how many times I've read it, but then I was so excited to fucking read it again for this, or to do this. And so this was like, this hurt a lot. This one cut me, man.
So good. Like, the book is so good. It's just so painful.
How do you fuck this up? Well, so then so guess to follow up. I mean, to end it, immediately go. We don't even get to see the fucking wedding. We don't even get to see a wedding.
We don't even get to see the wedding.
I was like, are you fucking? We immediately go to them in bed.
Yeah, because like they apparently 6 months have passed.
It's 6 months, yeah.
Yeah, someone makes a comment about like, you just spent 6 months together. You can't even show up for Pall Mall in time.
Yeah, and so they're playing Pall Mall, and that's how it ends. Cool.
But I did write. I was left smiling at the end. Damn you, Shonda. Which is why I say it was a bell curve for me. God, I am gonna have to like reread the part. Oh, God, the book is just so fucking good. Like, you didn't need to make any changes. You did not need to ruin it.
No, I think it was angsty enough. I think
it was angsty enough.
And you know me, I don't like fucking angst, but I think it was angsty enough from the standpoint of not even the if he was going to marry, because again, what is it, 50% through, and they're like, she's compromised, so they're getting married.
Yeah,
like,
right, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, like, there's
you have half of the book where they're married already.
Right. So the angst comes from whether or not he's going to make sense of what he's feeling and tell her he loves her, because because she's on her fucking way. Like in 4, literally, Penelope says at one point, I asked Kate, or no, it's Eloise says, I asked Kate at one point, no, take back. Penelope says, at one point I asked Kate when she fell in love with Anthony, and it was the night that he cut, what's her name? Cressida.
Oh, Cressida. Yeah, yeah.
And he cut her direct, and she said, he was a hero that night, and that was the night that she fell in love with him.
Yep. Because Cressida, in the book, Cressida was making shitty comments about Penelope.
Yep.
And Anthony steps in.
Yep.
And escorts Penelope into dinner. Yeah. Which he didn't have to do.
No, he was actually supposed to be taking the Marchioness to dinner.
Yeah. But he chose to just say, like, fuck that. I'm just going to take Penelope in. Who is, I mean, he didn't have to do that, but demonstrated the fact that he is a caring individual.
A good man who's not mean.
Right. Exactly.
Well, so we also get the part where it's the fuck you Colin part, because at one point we see Colin with a bunch of guys saying, like, pretty much, I'm never going to marry Penelope Featherington.
He's
and
like
she hears it
with his buddies, and she hears it. Yeah, because they had danced at the Featherington ball, I think.
Yeah, I was telling Veronica beforehand, that is how Force starts, is that Colin is telling his brothers, because he's being, like, harassed by his mom and his and it's like Mary Penn. He's like, and finally after his brothers are messing with him about it, like, you should just marry Penn. He's like, I'm never going, and of course he says it in front of Penn, and Penn walks in, she's like, I didn't ask you to marry me. Right. And, like, all of the brothers just are, like, embarrassed.
Yeah.
And so Anthony, again, because it's Anthony, he walks her home, and she's like, I don't need to walk home. I don't need an escort. He's like, please do me this favor and let me walk you home. Aww. And he's very kind to her as he's walking her home. And it's like, yep.
Again.
But no, we're gonna ruin that part too. Cool.
Mm-hmm. It's just, here's the thing. Okay, so I know you would not recommend it. You would recommend like a YouTube compilation.
Yes.
Here's my thing. If you read the book, this is not the book.
No,
if you
want
to watch this,
it shouldn't even be called The Viscount Who Loves Me.
Correct, and that's what The Independent said.
Although they did like it. They just said it was different.
Okay, so here's the thing: is that this is when it was like episode 5 or 6 when I was like, all right, Veronica, you have to make a decision. You are either going to hate watch the last 3 hours of this, or you are going to accept that this is not the book. And you're just going to have to, like, watch the rest of it for what it is. And so for the last 3 episodes, I was just like, just watch it. Just don't think about the book other than for the purposes of making notes. And just think about it as a show that you're watching. If you did not read the book, you won't know any different. If you did read the book and you want to watch the show, just don't expect what's in the book.
Yep.
Just don't. Whether you want it to be the book or you don't, just don't expect it to be the book at all. Just expect it to be a different thing entirely.
Well, and I would say too, like, I agree with that completely. I mean, honestly, I thought to myself, if we weren't doing this fucking show,
yeah,
I would just quit. I had to quit at 4. I would have been done. But I think if you don't like angst, because this is all this is.
Yeah.
If you like her
There's
other shows.
There's a lot of angst inserted into this show.
If you like her other shows that are full of fucking angst, Shonda shows, then this is right up your alley. I do not like those shows because it's just like, my life is fucking angsty enough. I don't need
of course. I mean, and it's kind of where I'm at in my life. I'm like, the world is pretty angsty enough, guys. Like, I don't really need it in my entertainment.
I escape. There's a reason I'm escaping something.
Exactly. Like, I haven't watched Grey's Anatomy in years now because I'm just like, God, this is so fucking angsty. And COVID.
No.
You know, I don't need this in my life. I need escape in my life.
Yeah, like if I see a trailer for a movie and I'm like, someone's gonna be crying by the end of this, nope, we're good.
No.
Mm-mm. No, I'm good. No, I don't need that.
Yeah, man.
Unless somebody's getting chased with a chainsaw and crying, then I'm well for it. But other than that, nope.
That's a
So
different
maybe that's what they
circumstance.
could, to make me enjoy the rest of the
Are
season.
you not
they should
entertained?
They should have fucking brought in Jason Voorhees at some
There
point.
you go.
Yep.
With a knife. See,
Yeah,
that existed back then.
Or Jack the Ripper. There we go. I would have enjoyed it.
There you go.
Oh, guys.
But
did it!
again, we
did
did
it!
do it. We did do it.
I
It
didn't
was a
rage that
harrowing
much.
experience.
I didn't rage that much. I'm raging inside.
No, you didn't, actually. I'm pretty impressed by the level of rage you kept inside. But again, if you want to watch it and you read the book, just don't expect it to be like the book.
I mean, I think then going forward, I think what bothered me the most is I love this book.
Yeah.
And I love 4 so much that
Yeah.
this is just a precursor to see, like, oh God, they're going to do it. They're going to just ruin it. And I think that's where my heart is right now.
Before we started recording, you and I have been talking about book 4 and how they've started to reveal so many plot lines that happen in 4.
Yeah.
You and I wondered if they're going to do 4 and 5 together. Mm-hmm. If Romancing Mr. Bridgerton and Sir Philip with Love.
Mm-hmm.
If they will be a joint, what would that be? Season 4?
Yeah, because I don't see them going forward in time 10 years.
No, I mean, you still have to get through Benedict. I mean, I don't think we have any news on, like, any kind of upcoming things. I would assume they're planning on doing a third
I'm pretty
season.
sure that's why we saw Benedict so much.
Yeah, which I do appreciate. And you and I talked, again, before we started, I was thinking about how I should write, or I should read Benedict's book because, like, how much of, after reading book 2, I realized how much of Anthony's story was set up during season 1. So I wondered how much of this was being set up during season 2 for Benedict specifically.
Yeah. Well, when you start it, let me know and I'll start it.
Or I'll just bite the bullet for both of us. Which is fine.
I mean,
because I know you don't like that trope, which I totally respect.
No, but I was actually thinking about it.
It did announce that they are doing season 3.
Okay.
So there's that. Yes, Netflix announced this record-breaking series is returning for its 3rd and 4th season before its 2nd season even hit the platform. Who knows when they're actually going to do anything about it. Season 3 will most likely pull storylines from the 3rd series in the book and Offer from a Gentleman. His romance with Sophie Beckett.
Yeah, because we haven't even... Well, so he meets her at a masquerade ball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Show creator Chris Van Dusen told E! News he's looking forward to exploring the plot of the 4th book in the series of follows Penelope and Colin. We did a lot of work in these first 2 seasons as far as setting up Penelope and Colin's love story. There's so much yearning and so much angst there. It's going
on
to be
one
really
side, unfortunately, at first.
Right. That it is going to be really satisfying when the show really gets to focus on the 2 of them.
It's also tough because Colin in the book at this point is 33 and Penelope is 28.
Yeah.
So, like, he's expecting to be getting married. And, like, Luke Newton looks all of 21 because he is. Like, it's tough to imagine him as a romantically, because he still looks like a baby.
Young.
And she does too. I know she's a little older than that, but still, like, yeah.
But aging makeup is easier than, like, anti-aging makeup. You know what I mean? Like, you can make them look a little older, or you can just fucking fudge it like you did with Kate. Like, Kate was 26 in the show, but she was 20 in the book.
Yeah.
You know? So maybe they'll just pull him back a little bit in terms of number of years. Maybe.
I don't know. I love that book. I love both books. I love them.
Girl, I know. There's no official release. No official release date for Bridgerton season 3 yet. But most likely sometime in 2023. Ooh, the first season was released on Christmas 2020. Interesting. Okay. That was like the very, very beginning of us doing podcast things.
Yes, because I remember barreling through it for that whole weekend.
Yep.
And us talking about it.
Because you and I were like, we need to do this now because Bridgerton is being released. So like,
yeah.
Gotta happen.
Our anniversary show will be a fucking Bridgerton season where I want to light myself on fire.
It's possible. All right, so I guess we did it. Yeah,
we did it.
Coming up, we have in April we are doing New Author Month, or like Newer Author Month.
Or authors you should know.
April 5th, our episode will be on Consider Me by Becca Mack, which came out on March 22nd. And then we are doing the new S.L. Prater on the 19th, yeah?
Yes.
I forget what the name of that book is.
Hexes and Heists, I think.
Pretty excited about it. That's a paranormal. Consider Me is a contemporary sports romance about a hockey player. Reformed rake gets me every goddamn time.
Oh, I
did start it. I'm a quarter way through it. I'm all about it.
We got in the Hexes and Heists, I believe that's what it is. I have to look it up. Is Robin Hood and Sheriff of Nottingham steampunk. As steamy steampunk, as SL's been doing her hashtag steamy steampunk. That makes me laugh.
I'm into it.
I'm looking it up one more time just because Heists and Hexes. I had it backwards. So.
Oh, okay.
Steamy steampunk. I do love me some steampunk. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, word, absolutely. So that'll be April. May we have to work some things out still. We will be doing Emily Henry Book Lovers, but we are likely not going to get approved for an ARC, so we're just planning on doing it on the 17th because it comes out on the 3rd. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about the coming months. We would like to do Penny Read Month at some point, but we keep like wavering on when we should do it. But yeah, so maybe it'll just be later, and that's fine. Maybe it will be November. We don't know.
Well, she does have another one coming out.
She has multiple coming out this year.
But the one I think we were looking forward to doing is the one that's like the continuation of the folk
The
tales.
Homecoming King.
No, the folking around. No, what that
yeah, that one got moved. I forget.
It's July though, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah, but we have an ARC in July.
Okay.
We can talk about this off air. Okay, so anywho,
they don't care.
They don't care.
Don't care.
They're just like, can you just shut the fuck up?
You've been talking for almost 3 hours. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so where you can find us, you can find us all the time at www.chicletbookclubpodcast.com.
All the time.
You can check out our merch. I'm wearing our shirt right now. At chicletbookclubpodcast.threadless.com.
And
there's a link
links
in the show notes.
And there are links on the website too.
Perfect.
Yep.
Twitter, we are at Chicklet Podcast. TikTok, we are Chicklet Book Club. Pinterest, Chicklet Book Club Podcast. You can follow our Spank Naughty lists and our stuntcasting. You can email us your thoughts, preferably constructive criticism, at chicletbookclubpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Chicklet Book Club Podcast. Our YouTube and Facebook links are there, and our Patreon links are in the show notes below the description. Also, please, if you are interested in submitting a review on Apple Podcasts, we will send you a magnet. All you have to do is screenshot your review, email it to us, and you can choose a magnet, whether it is, the pictures are still up on Instagram, but we have like a purpley color background with an eggplant and a heart on them.
Yeah, because
and
why
then also
not, right?
a wine colored background. So...
Yes. Well, I was just going to say also, if you guys if somebody did read the book and did like this, like quite a bit, I'm actually fascinated to know why exactly. I'm not like, you need to tell me, but I'm like, I'd like
Please
to
tell
know.
us, like, what about it did you
Spoke
love?
to you.
Yeah, because there's a lot of dissension. I don't know, like a lot of differing of opinion about the people who read the book and actually loved this season versus people who didn't.
Ray,
it's just a lot. It's just very different. I don't know. Anywho, we are always interested in hearing your feedback, provided you're not just going to tell us things you hate about us without any kind of...
I mean, because I'll fight you if you'd like. I mean,
listen, we're not that nice, you know? Like,
no. I'm not like rude. Anthony Bridgerton. I'm not a good person.
Fucking A.
Oh, I might buy you a horse, though.
Oh, yeah. Don't climb inside it, though. It'll be real.
No. It'll be full of...
entrails.
Yep.
Less.
Horse insides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So anyhow,
you
know where to find us. We just told you all of them. And there's also links in all of our show notes.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. We've actually had one of the very best weeks. Actually, the best week we've ever had in the past week. I'm sure that has a lot to do with the fact that we've been talking about Bridgerton.
Yep.
I don't care. I'm happy for it. So thank you very much. If you're listening to this, we appreciate you, and we're glad that you're here.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Anywho, how do we end this thing?
Oh, in the most annoying way possible.
Bye!
Again!
It always cuts out.
It's like, I'm doing you a favor, bitches.
I'm doing all of you a favor. Just shut the fuck up.
Get that compressor to work, man.
Yep, just noise canceling, just chomping down on everyone. Just fuck those ladies. Who cares?